Temple 2024 homecoming. The Owls are at Lincoln Financial Field, ready to take on Tulsa. I am James Urban here with my color analyst, Zach Silverstein. And Zach, Temple coming off the bye week, coming back home to avenge a tough loss at UConn. We both mentioned we watched that game. Just a gut-wrenching loss on the road, but now the Owls are back at home, well-rested, with their quarterback, Evan Simon, back.
Yeah, I mean, that game against UConn was really tough to watch. The offense really struggled. The defense played well, but like you said, there was no Evan Simon in that game. So having him back this afternoon against Tulsa at home is going to be really huge. And Evan Simon has played every home game for Temple this season, hasn't played any road games. So now back at Lincoln Financial Field, Evan Simon on the field should be a much different performance today, considering Simon will be quarterback. But yeah, I mean, that game against UConn, you couldn't draw that up. I mean, you can make that ending up. That was Temple's last 3 years in a nutshell right there.
For people listening, the loss at UConn, it was neck and neck the entire way, back and forth. I think each team had at least 20 possessions on offense, tons of turnovers. Temple even had a blocked punt touchdown. But with all that said, it came down to 2 goes at it from the half-yard line for Temple's offense, and they were unable to punch it in as time expired. A fumble on 4th and 1. UConn returns it the other way, all the way to the house. Just a tough loss to go through on the road, especially considering that was going to be Stan Drayton's first road win as coach of Temple, which was just, you hated to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the 3rd year now of Stan Drayton being the head coach here at Temple. Still has not won a game on the road. Had a chance right there, but couldn't do it. But, I mean, I feel like you couldn't pick a better week for that bye to come. If you lose a game like that, I mean, I'm sure you want to go out on the field, try to get back out there as quick as possible. But in terms of the injuries and just the mental effects of that game, you needed a week to just reset, get everybody healthy, get that loss out of your mind, and come back here at home in front of your fans.
Yeah, speaking of being healthy, like we said, Evan Simon back. Got word throughout the week that Demerick Morris is back for the defense on Temple. He is a big piece of the defensive line. Demerick Morris back and healthy. Also got word that Cameron Stewart is out today for the defense. And Khalil Potier, the defensive lineman, he is also being inserted into the lineup on the defensive end. But yes, Demerick Morris, he's a huge piece, single-digit guy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you need that leadership on the field. I mean, like you said, single-digit. He's one of the leaders of the defense, but he's also one of the defense's best players. Like, his leadership aside, like on the field, his performance is always one of the best on that Temple defense. And definitely need that. I know DeJuan Black played the last couple games. He missed the first couple games of the year and then played the last 2 weeks. He had a great game against UConn. Really need him to carry that over to the game this afternoon. But, I mean, this is a game where Temple's defense could really, really have success. Tulsa is a pretty one-dimensional offense, and if you could kind of just get to them quickly, put pressure on their quarterback, probably going to be Kirk Franklin out there. Kirk Francis out there this afternoon. He does not like to run, which is much different than what Temple has seen the past couple weeks. So can get pressure on him, sack him, and just really, really make this Tulsa offense uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, mentioned in the pregame with you, Zach, this Temple defense really has had a solid year so far. And you mentioned DeJuan Black at UConn, just wreaking havoc over there in Connecticut. He had a phenomenal game. I believe he had a few sacks recorded. Yeah. Then another guy like DJ Woodbury, who also has been having a great year.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the guys. He's up there in the top of the conference in total tackles. Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like he has his hand in every single play, which is what you need. And, yeah, so DJ Woodbury, Demerick Morris, DeJuan Black, those are the guys you're looking to up front to kind of get that going, to get pressure on the quarterback. And, yeah, it should be a game where they really do have some success. Can't wait to see what they do. And like we said, coming off that bye, well-rested, should have a lot of energy. It should be a really fun one.
Well-rested and ready to go at Lincoln Financial Field. The fans are filing in. Zach, we mentioned the parking lots were packed today for homecoming.
Yeah, the parking lots were crowded. There was pretty much nowhere to park. Like every spot was taken up.
Yeah.
And now just looking over at the stands, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. It's really nice to see. I mean, it helps with the weather. Perfect day. Yeah, you couldn't ask for better weather today.
Beautiful. I got to say 65, 70 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky from our angle above the seats at Lincoln Financial Field. Maddox Trulio getting set and ready to kick this one off for Temple. Tulsa will start on offense. Temple 2024 homecoming is off and underway. The kickoff through the back of the end zone, and Tulsa will start things off.
Yeah, the one thing we've seen from Temple throughout this season is that it seems like they're always playing from behind. The other team, their opponent always gets into the end zone first or kicks a field goal first. They're always putting points on the board before Temple, which obviously puts a lot of pressure on Temple's offense to kind of get back into it. So if you're Temple's defense, you got to have a nice, clean drive right here. Get Tulsa's offense off the field, get your offense on the field, and you want to be able to score first this afternoon.
From the 25, Tulsa, their starting quarterback, Kirk Francis. In the game, they hand off on first down, up the middle for a few yards. Going to be a gain of 3.
And that's what you need right there from Temple. Just a little 3-yard gain. You know that Tulsa, like we said, they're pretty one-dimensional. They have one main running back they go to, one main wide receiver they go to. You can tame both of them. Should be a pretty nice day for you.
Anthony Watkins is the lead back in this Tulsa offense. He gets the carry on the first down, making it a 2nd and 7, moving the ball to the 28-yard line in the first 30 seconds of this ball game. Temple in the all cherries and white helmets. Tulsa in the white unis and golden pants. Kirk Francis takes it on the run on the second down, and like we mentioned, Cooper Legis on the carry. Mentioned in the pregame, Kirk Francis does not run the ball too much.
He likes to stay in the pocket.
So Cooper Legis in the game on the second down carry. He's back out there for third down, but he only racked up 2 yards on the second down carry, making it 3rd and 5 and an early 3rd and manageable for this Temple defense. They force a lot of third downs at UConn.
Yeah, and Temple is usually really, really good on third down. It's first and second down they struggle with, but want to be able to get a stop here on 3rd and 5.
Legis with his running back directly behind him. Man in motion. Looks like somebody calls a timeout. And
delay of game.
Delay of game on the offense. Yeah, it wasn't a timeout because they're not talking anything over. Delay of game, that's going to back them up 5 yards.
And
so we already see a little bit of dysfunction.
Yeah, and that right there shows you why Tulsa only has 2 wins on the season. I mean, first drive of the game, you already get the delay of game.
Tulsa, one of their wins on the road at Louisiana Tech. And then they won their first game of the season at home against Northwestern State. Legis, back to pass, looking downfield. Downfield. There's a flag also caught by midfield right around the 50-yard line. There's a flag thrown in the secondary. And it looks like this is going to give Tulsa a first down as there was a holding penalty in the secondary. Looks like it was committed by number 20, Jamel Johnson, it seemed like. That's going to move the chains.
And these are one of the things that has hurt Temple all season is the penalties where it seems like you get a stop, or even against Army, opening drive they scored a touchdown and it's brought all the way back because of a penalty. I mean, you get the stop, you shoot yourself in the foot, and now it gives Tulsa more life.
So far we're seeing Cooper Legis in at quarterback, who has not had many attempts throwing the football so far this year. He keeps it himself on this run, and he racks up about 15 yards on the first down carry all the way to around midfield. It's going to be at the 48-yard line of Tulsa. A great gain for Cooper Legis.
And we're seeing where maybe Temple was kind of game planning for Kirk Francis to be in there, not expecting the ball to be run, but now Cooper Legis is in there, and already second carry of the game, they're struggling to stop him already. Got a nice game.
As soon as Temple thought they were going to get away from a running quarterback,
it's thrown right at them.
It's thrown right back at them. Anthony Watkins with the carry. just for a few.
Temple so far not having much trouble stopping the run when it's handed off, but when Ligas keeps it, they're having some trouble. But here we go again, 2nd and 9.
This Tulsa offense, the running back core consists of number 23 senior Anthony Watkins, number 22 Byron Ellison, number 3 Bill Jackson, and number 25 Lloyd Avant. Watkins definitely the lead back. He's still in there on 2nd down. Gets the ball again, and there is nothing but cherry jerseys right in front of his face on that 2nd down carry, and that is going to make it once again a 3rd and long.
Yeah, I mean, Temple, the past couple of games, had a lot of trouble tackling, bringing down their opponent. I mean, a lot of missed tackles, a lot of broken tackles. Not the case so far here, with the exception of that one run by Ligas.
A late substitution there. Has to get out of bounds on Temple's far sideline. Now 3rd and long. Expecting a pass here by Ligas. Like we mentioned, Camden Benjamin, the lead wide receiver on this Tulsa offense, Zach.
Yeah, I would imagine he would look for him here on 3rd and 9.
Number 18 on the near sideline. Benjamin down the sideline, complete and stop just short of the marker to gain. Number 19. Elijah Darville with the tackle. Grayson Tempest, the sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the catch and run for a few yards. And he was a half yard short of the marker to gain, and now it's going to be 4th and less than a yard.
And Tulsa looks like they're going to go for it here. I mean, which I think is a really good choice, considering I know Evan Simon's back in there, but is coming off that injury. I mean, can't guarantee that he's going to be able to do anything.
Bill Jackson in at running back from the 43-yard line, and it looks like Tulsa wants to talk things over before they go for it on this 4th and inches. From the 43-yard line of Temple, now both teams will get a breather.
And once again, I looked over at the clock. The play clock was pretty much at 0, so I think you call that timeout maybe because there was almost another delay of game, which already first drive, you have one,
2
almost
plays.
have a second one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of dysfunction so far in terms of clock management for the Golden Hurricane.
And, you know, that tends to happen with college teams on the road. They get out of their sorts a little bit in the first quarter, first half, and things like that happen where the play clock runs down and its stuff isn't fully communicated. So Tulsa has to burn a timeout less than 5 minutes into the first quarter, and they are drawing up a play on 4th and 1. You see they got the punter getting ready, but I think that's a fake.
Yeah, it could be a deke here, trying to
definitely a decoy.
Have Temple think that they're going to punt it, but then run back out there. Or who knows? I mean, maybe they try to get Temple to jump off sides, and that's where if you're Temple, you got to be extremely disciplined. The last thing you want to do on 4th and 1 on your own half of the field is jump off sides and give them more life again.
But at the same time, you send out the punting unit trying to get them to jump off sides. If they don't, then you have to burn another.
Exactly.
You have to burn another timeout. So, but yeah, so far Cooper Ligas in at quarterback on this first go for Tulsa's offense, and Kirk Francis has not gotten a look. Kirk Francis wearing number 11. Haven't seen him yet. Cooper Ligas, the senior from Utah, wearing number 5.
Yeah, and Tulsa definitely did their homework. I mean, you watch the film. It's clear to see against Navy, Army, and UConn, Temple could not stop a running quarterback. So if you're Tulsa and you have a guy that can run a little bit, you might as well throw him out there. I mean, and again, he had 2 nice runs so far. You do your homework. It's not hard to see on that scouting report what Temple's main weakness is, and they're attacking it right now.
On the first drive so far, Tulsa has racked up 27 yards, 8 through the air, and 19 on the ground. Bit of a long timeout for this first quarter. But mentioning again, at the 42.5, 43-yard line, Tulsa getting ready to probably go for it on this 4th and 1.
Yeah, if I'm Tulsa, I would say you go for it here. Like I said, especially with, I know that if you don't get it, you give Temple good field position, but with Evan Simon coming off the injury, I think you can maybe feel comfortable putting him in that position, not assuming that he's going to be able to just come in there and click right away if you don't get that first down and Temple has the ball. But, I mean, the players come back. That was a really long timeout. They're coming back.
It was a very long timeout. Demarick Morris and the Temple defense trotting back out on the field. Cooper Legas out there, the running quarterback. And this time, number 3, Bill Jackson, the running back for Tulsa, in Anthony Watkins, number 23, subbed out. Bill Jackson, a junior from St. Louis, Missouri, lining up to the right side of Cooper Legas. 4th and a half a yard. Legas keeps it himself, and he gets stopped short. Temple's defense with a big stop on the first drive of the game. A huge stop for Temple's defense, and who else but DJ Woodbury with the tackle.
And that's exactly what you need if you're Temple's defense. Put some energy right into that sideline, get your offense on the field, still tied 0-0. I mean, 4th and 1, we said it. We had a feeling they were going to keep it with Legas. That's what they did, but, I mean, Temple's defense held strong right there.
And excuse me, it was number 34, DeJuan Black, who we mentioned in the pregame, had a phenomenal game at UConn. Wreaked havoc, was just an absolute game wrecker.
Yep.
Around 2 sacks in that game at UConn, and he makes his presence felt early. And now Temple taking over at their own 44. Beautiful field position for the Owls to start things off in their homecoming game. Simon looking to throw on the first down, going deep. Hits the corner right on the numbers in the back of his jersey. Not a bad throw, just better defense.
And you're coming now. You're coming right out the gate, taking a deep shot there. I mean, I guess we know Evan Simon's coming off the injury, but must be feeling pretty good if he just comes right in and tries to take that deep shot.
Pass intended for number 28, Ashton Allen, the graduate student from Odenton, Maryland. 4 seasons on USC's track and field team. 2nd down and 10. Simon looking, pass complete, over the middle. And a first down into Tulsa territory. Number 19, Antonio Jones, who has been pretty dynamic for this Temple offense. Hasn't gotten the ball too many times, but he makes plays whenever he gets it. Simon hands it off. On the near side. Looks like it's Joquez Smith. Terez Worthy, number 25, who also had a great game at UConn. Around 9 carries, 10 carries for 95 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
on the ground at UConn.
It's smart to give Terez Terez Worthy the majority of the carries. I mean, he's really proved that he can do it. And right there with a nice run on his first attempt.
Terez Worthy from Salisbury, Maryland. Simon dropping back, has pressure, has to fall way back to the 50-yard line, and he dumps it down. This is going to be a major loss. And it's going to back him all the way up to the 45-yard line. Simon had nothing but white jerseys in his face. He just had to dump it off to Terez Worthy. Worthy tried to make something of it.
Yeah,
but that was a major loss, and now 3rd and 15.
And Simon Lucky had somebody to throw to right there, because if not, I mean, that was a major loss, but he would have been back another 10 yards or so.
3rd and 15 from the 45-yard line. Dante Wright in motion. Snap goes to Simon. Simon's looking, has pressure. Dump down to Worthy once again, and it's going to be a great stop for the Tulsa defense. And that, you see this happen a few times at UConn, some positive plays, and then a big negative play that just takes the offense fully back, and they can't get anything going.
You see, it only takes one play to knock that momentum right away from you. And look, Temple was moving up the field, had a nice completion to Antonio Jones. Thought, oh, yeah, they might be able to do something on this drive, and then now they're forced to punt.
Now you can see Temple definitely wanting to get the ball out of Evan Simon's hands early.
Yeah, the pressure's coming
when
quick.
he is throwing. The pressure is early and often for this Tulsa defense as they make some subs before this punt. Dante Atten, the punter. Looks like there's going to be a timeout called by Stan Drayton. Saw him run to the referee before Atten lets this punt fly. Atten, more of a line drive style punter. This is going to be kind of a situation where you want a little bit more of a pooch punt here.
Definitely, yeah. With Dante Atten, he's more of a guy, like you said, that line drive where he's hoping to get that perfect bounce to where it hits the ground and then bounces back a little bit further. He's not a guy that's going to be able to launch it 40, 50 yards through the air and have that good field position like that.
He loves his run-ups.
He loves to run. He takes it, runs about 5-6 yards, and then gets that punt. And he's from Australia, so he's got that rugby-style punting in him.
Yep. Getting ready to punt is Atten. Standing at his own 40-yard line. Atten with the run-up, like you mentioned, line drive, punt. And it is fielded at the 10. Caught. Going past the 30, past the 40, and it's the dynamic Camden Benjamin, the wide receiver for Tulsa, giving them beautiful field position past the 40.
And that was the absolute last thing you needed. A quick drive for your offense. You punt the ball over to Tulsa. Now they're starting at about the 40-yard line, and Camden Benjamin, not only a guy that can hurt you through the air, he can hurt you on the punts too.
Just not a position where you want to get the ball in his hands quickly. You want the ball to fly in the air a little bit longer than that. And now Tulsa starting at their own 41-yard line on their second possession of the day.
And that's a situation where if you're Dante Atten, you try to kick it as far away from Camden Benjamin as possible. If there's two returners back there, you give it to the other returner. And because like we saw, you put it in his hands, that's something he could do. And like you said, because he's a line drive, it gets to him so quick that Temple has no opportunity to get down there to even get to him.
He had 15 yards ahead of him and nobody.
Free field.
Free field for number 18, Camden Benjamin, who has led the receiving core for Tulsa by far so far this year, racking in 80 receptions. The next closest guy was 9. So he leads the team by around 30 receptions on the receiving end of things. So by far the number one target.
Yeah, he's the number one guy that you look. If he's going to go out there and beat you, you can let him get his whatever, but then you have to take care of everybody else. If he's going to go out there and do it, you can't let them spread the wealth where Camden Benjamin gets maybe 85 to 100 yards, and then you have a couple guys here and there that are getting 40 or 50. If he's going to beat you, it's got to be him and only him. Because like we said, he's the number one target for Tulsa. No matter who's in there at quarterback, it doesn't matter if it's Francis or Legas, they're going to try to find him. So watch him, try to contain him, but if you can't, it's all right if he beats you, but it has to be only him, nobody else.
Yeah, definitely disappointing for Temple after getting into Tulsa field territory on that Antonio Jones first down.
It's happened the past couple games where they lead you on.
That was the theme of things at UConn. They got a big play, 15-plus yards downfield into UConn territory, then they back it up. Two steps forward, 3 steps back. And you saw it again as Simon was pressured all the way back to the 50-yard line, was lucky to even get rid of it to Terez Worthy. And then the next down on 3rd and long, same thing, had to dump it down to Terez Worthy. And now Tulsa with the ball back. First down from the 41-yard line. Tulsa on their own 41. 7:40 remaining in this first quarter. 6 minutes and 20 seconds through this first quarter at Lincoln Financial Field. Beautiful day. Cooper Legas back in at QB as Tulsa takes things over. Bill Jackson with the carry up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of 5 on the first down run.
And that right there was a really, really good tackle by, I believe it was Elijah Darraville, where, like I said, Temple's had a lot of trouble this season trying to tackle. There's been a lot of broken tackles. And
Tyquan King.
Yeah, it was Tyquan King, number 10, where he misses that tackle. That might have honestly been a touchdown for Tulsa. So last thing you need is broken tackles, a really good one there.
2nd and 5 from the 45-yard line. Tulsa on their own side of the field. Bill Jackson in the backfield has a man over the middle. Looked like Bill Jackson was streaking down the sideline, but Legas didn't see him. Tried to find his tight end over the middle of the field and incomplete.
And we talked about how important it is to get pressure on the quarterback. We saw Trey Thomas there, number 3, get pressure on Legas, forced a bad throw, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 6. You got to be able to get to him quick.
Incompletion intended for 87, Luke McGarry, the tight end. 3rd and 6 from the 45-yard line. Temple defense looking for another stop. Number 3, Bill Jackson to the right of Legas. Legas giving it to Bill Jackson. He has some room. looking for a first down. He's going to be stopped short. Taekwon King on the tackle once again. 4th down.
And the pressure there again forced Ligas to roll out to his right, kind of dump it off, and then there were about 2 or 3 hours there that were ready to make that tackle. And now Tulsa's going to have to punt again.
So now a whole lot of the same thing on this Temple team. Offense kind of letting the defense down. Temple's defense already 2 stops.
And that proves your earlier point where you look at this, you look at the final score, and Temple gives up a lot of points, but a lot of times it's because Temple's offense puts their defense in really, really bad field position where there's not much they can do.
Punt up and away, spiraling punt. And it is going to go out of bounds right at the 3-yard line. A phenomenal punt by Tulsa. Number 29, Jordero Williams on the punting end of things, and he's going to put Temple inside the 5-yard line. A beautiful punt there. And now you're going to have to see Temple's offense operate inside their own 5-yard line.
Yeah, and it's a much different punting style for Tulsa than it is for Temple. We saw kind of like that high arcing kick that landed right there at about, I would say about the 5-yard line, then bounced out of bounds. And now, like you said, Temple now at the 5. I mean, the last thing you want is to be backed up that far, especially when your running game has really struggled these past couple seasons where if you're backed up that far, if you're backed up that far back, you want to be able to hand the ball off, maybe get 4 or 5 yards there to give yourself some breathing room, but Temple struggles to run the ball, so you got to really hope that they find a hole there.
And excuse me, 2 number 29s on the roster for Tulsa. Number 29 punter Angus Davies pinning Temple at the 4-yard line with 6:14 to go in the first quarter. Now, what are you expecting to see on the second drive of things for Temple's offense?
Yeah, I would say the first play or two, I'm probably going to expect to see them try to run the ball, try to get themselves some breathing room. I mean, looks like the referees have the ball spotted at about the 3-yard line, so I think there's no way, especially with the pressure we saw from Tulsa on the previous drive, I don't think you put the ball in Evan Simon's hands, forcing the drop back, because the last thing you want is a safety, and even more the last thing you want is for him to fumble the ball in the end zone. Tulsa picks it up for a touchdown. I mean, you want to be able to run the ball, get yourself out of there, because with the pressure Tulsa's getting, you don't want to put Evan Simon in that predicament.
A lot of carries from a lot of different guys at UConn, but Terez Worthy definitely the lead back at UConn, and it seems like he has got the nod to be the first guy out there today. So definitely looking for a Terez Worthy carry backed up in this situation.
Definitely. I would say either Terez Worthy or Antoine Littleton, because Littleton's kind of like that bigger back where you give him the ball, he plays kind of like that bully ball football where he can maybe fight his way to 2 or 3 yards. So I'm looking to either see Littleton or Worthy here in this first play or two, but definitely there's no way Temple throws this football here, especially with the pressure that Simon saw those last couple plays in the first drive.
Have not seen number 21, E.J. Wilson, out there yet. He had a costly fumble in Temple's own territory. I believe it was inside their own 15-yard line last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, against UConn. And after that fumble, it was Terez Worthy the entire second half at UConn.
And Terez Worthy proved that he really deserves those snaps. I mean, it's unfortunate that he's out there because of the miscues by his teammate, but sometimes all you need is somebody else to mess up, and then you're able to prove what you can do.
Temple's offense back out there at their own 3-yard line. The cherry and white diamond end zones here at Lincoln Financial Field today. And it certainly looks like Worthy is to the right of Evan Simon. Hands it off to him. Worthy bouncing, trying to find some room, and he takes it all the way out to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he got a gain of 2 yards right there. If I'm Temple, I'm giving it right back to him, trying to do that same thing. You want to get to probably about the 7 or the 8 before you can feel comfortable dropping back for a pass.
2nd and 9 as Worthy danced around. He was able to find some room. 2 receivers on the far side. 1 in motion. John Adams. Simon back to pass. Looking downfield, and it's caught. Landon Morris, number 81, has a lot of room. Past the 50, past the 40, all the way into Temple territory. What a pass and run for the Temple offense. Landon Morris Seems like by far his biggest gain of the year.
And just as I said, I expect Temple to run the ball the first 2 plays. Second play, they find Landon Morris for a huge gain. Evan Simon was dropped back into the end zone, but stayed calm, stayed collected, found his receiver in Landon Morris, and now Temple's at almost the 35-yard line.
Landon Morris on a little bit of a seam route. Found a lot of room and a lot of room to run all the way to the Tulsa 37-yard line. 1st and 10. Trick play coming. Downfield, and it's caught. Number 84 for the Temple offense, Daniel Everett. Trick play. Who is that threw that? I couldn't tell which Temple wide receiver completed that pass, but it was on a dime, and now Temple's offense moving quickly. At the 18, Evan Simon keeps it himself. Upfield, and he slides.
I think it's safe to say that Evan Simon's feeling pretty healthy.
Evan
He's got no
Simon
concerns.
with a quick carry to the right side over by us, and it's down at the 14-yard line. Temple offense moving quickly. I couldn't tell who completed the pass for the Temple O. Clearly a trick play that they had designed all week. Halloween, excuse me, for the Temple offense. 2nd and 6 from the 14-yard line. Beautifully constructed. Simon drops back, and he has to get rid of it. It looks like that was an incompletion. Tulsa's defense hopping on like it's a fumble, but Simon got rid of that one as there was pressure once again.
And you said earlier that it seems like the past couple of weeks, Temple takes one step forward, 2 steps back. I mean, that could have almost been a fumble. I mean, with Evan Simon, he was smart enough to kind of pass it up a little bit for the incompletion, but, I mean, that could have been a disaster right there.
It just seems like they have to have some more communication at the line of scrimmage, because there's just guys running free all the way to Evan Simon. Now a 3rd and 6, a crucial down for the Temple offense. Joquez Smith in at running back. Simon keeps it. It looks like he's going to be stopped 3 yards short, 2 yards short of the marker to gain. And now a 4th and 3 at the 11-yard line. And Maddox Trulio wearing number 91, who we have heard plenty about so far this year. The potential NFL draft pick, very, very much seeming like he can get drafted into the NFL.
60-plus yard field goals this season.
A 64-yarder and a 60-yarder 2 weeks ago at UConn. And he's out here for a chip shot. Trulio, snap is set. It's up, and it is good, and Temple is on the board first. 3-0 Temple with 3:20 to go here at Lincoln Financial Field for homecoming. And that will bring us to break, and we'll be right back on WHIP Radio. Back from the field goal by Maddox Trulio. Zach, a lot of good things happened on that drive, but once again, the knock on the Temple offense. They cannot score touchdowns when they get down there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Temple, you'll take those 3 points. Nice to be up 3-0, but to not be able to put the ball in the end zone is a major bummer. I mean, you had a big 58-yard gain by Landon Morris, then a nice trick play there for a gain of 19 yards, and then you settle for the field goal after Evan Simon is pressured again immediately, has to get rid of it quickly, almost fumbled, but it was ruled to be just a regular incomplete pass. But, I mean, 7 plays, 87 yards.
got to leave with 6.
And you have to.
You got to leave with touchdowns.
You can't march 87 yards down the field and not put the ball in the end zone.
It's the difference between good and great teams.
Yep.
Great teams
Wins and
score.
losses, yep.
Good teams score touchdowns. By the way, number 11, Kirk Francis, back in at QB for Tulsa. So Cooper Legis got the look on the first 2 drives for Tulsa. And now number 11, Kirk Francis back out there. The 6'1", 196-pound freshman from, of course, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Just like most of their roster.
Yeah, Zach and I were doing prep throughout the week and saw that a lot of guys on Tulsa's team are from Tulsa, Oklahoma, so a lot of close-by recruiting for the Golden Hurricane. Francis looking to pass. Dump down, incomplete. Intended for number 18, who else but Camden Benjamin. Now, once again, the Temple defense forcing a 3rd and long.
Good. Temple defense is looking really good. So early in this game, they're still just in the first quarter, only the 3rd drive of the game for Tulsa. But, I mean, if you're Temple's offense, you got to be feeling really comfortable that your defense is going to put you in good positions.
You know, Temple's defense, they were looking solid all year, and the only knock on them was where are the turnovers? And now last week the turnovers came, and now they are continuing to play very well. 3rd and 8 from the 27-yard line. Francis back to pass. Dewan Black in his face, making him flush out. And it's wasn't intercepted. It was bobbled. The ref comes in on the sideline, and it is intercepted at the 45 of Tulsa. Number 21, Jalen Lewis. The transfer, redshirt sophomore from Arkansas, with the interception on the far sideline, picking off Francis on just his 2nd pass of the game.
And that's now 2 games in a row. Jalen Lewis comes down with the interception. Had one against UConn.
The one-hander. Oh!
He had the toe tap on the sideline, one hand. He lost him, too. Jalen Lewis is having a really good season. Like you said, where are the takeaways for this Temple defense? Now what, that's 4 in the last 2 games?
Look at the replay. Pulls it in with one hand. Catches it originally with 2, and then going to the ground, toe taps, and keeps it in with one hand. Holding it down. Jalen Lewis, a beautiful play. And like we mentioned,
you can see Simon on the sideline going, did you see him in the back freaking out?
Going nuts.
You love to see that.
Jalen Lewis, a highlight reel play. You might see that on SVP Top 10 later tonight.
You might be.
Tune into Sports Center at midnight, and you just might see that play on the SC Top 10. And now Temple's offense going to take over in phenomenal field position, 45. The Temple defense, once again, just giving presence to this Temple O. Yeah. Now they really got to convert now.
Now, in the last 2 games, they have, so against UConn, it was 1 interception, 1 fumble, and a block punt for a touchdown. And now today in the first quarter, it's another interception. Jalen Lewis has both interceptions in these last 2 games. The referees are looking at it, but it looked like he came down with that catch.
Yeah, you see on the Jumbotron at the link, the refs have the replay video out right now. But it sure looked like I think he had it.
He had that.
Jalen Lewis originally catching it with 2 hands, then coming to the ground with it in his right hand only.
And you only need 1 foot.
And you only need 1 foot in college. And I didn't see much of any bobbling with the football. I don't think it would be enough to overturn anyway, if that's what they're looking at. But as it stands right now, interception for Jalen Lewis, giving Temple the ball on the Tulsa 45-yard line. And maybe something happened throughout practice with the quarterbacks, because we saw Cooper Legis start things off, and just the second throw for Kirk Francis of the day is airmailed over the head of Camden Benjamin, and he throws an interception.
And it started with
just
the
the
pressure.
second throw of the day, yeah.
Once again, had to roll out to his right because he was pressured immediately.
By Dewan Black.
Yeah, the Temple defensive line, and Dewan Black specifically is playing great. This is the Temple defense that everybody's gotten used to for like the last pretty much all these years. I mean, if there was one thing about Temple, it was that they had a really good hard-nosed defense. Kind of lost it a little bit last year, but last couple weeks, we're really starting to see that come back. UConn, they played great. Today against Tulsa, they're playing great so far. Got to get back to that Temple tough defense that we're so used to seeing.
Absolutely phenomenal play thus far in this season for Temple's defense, and these refs are still looking at this play.
Which may not be good for Temple. Usually when you take this long, you might see something.
They're trying to find something to. They don't want this play to be on SportsCenter tonight. They do not want this play to be on SportsCenter tonight. Tulsa's defense breaking huddle.
Temple's offense walking off the field.
Temple's offense walking off the field. From the angles we saw, it looked like an interception was made. Maybe there's another angle on the national televised broadcast. And they overturn the call on the field. Call reversed. I guess it doesn't matter too much. It was a 3rd and 7, so now it's going to be punted away by number 25, Angus Davies. Angus Davies, number 29, is going to punt it away inside his own 15-yard line.
But still,
that's kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer. And if you're Temple, I mean, it sucks not to come away with that pick right there, but at least you start to put some doubt in Tulsa with the passing game. Maybe now they may be hesitant to go at Jalen Lewis. I mean, if he's on Camden Benjamin, that's going to be tough all game.
Now we have a new punt returner in for Temple. An ugly punt for Davies, and that's going to back all the way up to midfield.
They got better field position on the punt than the interception.
And you see, everything works out for Temple at the end of the day, because now they are starting at their own 48-yard line, right around the same area that they would have with the interception. So now 1st and 10, and now Temple's offense can trot out there with 2:25 in the first quarter. And Zach, like we mentioned, right when the interception was made, or what we thought was an interception, now Temple's offense, all the momentum, now they got to get 6.
And you got to build off it. You have got to put the ball in the end zone here. And you're having success deep down the field. Keep going at it. Keep attacking it. Try to find Dante Wright, too. We haven't heard his name yet.
The one thing that Temple defense wants right now is rest. They are out there all the time. Evan Simon back out there, 1st and 10 from the 48. Handoff. Lot of room. Joquez Smith past the 40, past the 35, on the near sideline, and he goes out of bounds right around the 30. Joquez Smith with his first look of the game, making something of it.
And being able to run the football is key for the passing game as well. If you open up the field when you run the football, it makes them have to worry about it, and then it leaves Evan Simon some more time to throw the ball.
Evan Simon dropping back to pass. Pressure once again, and he just has to float out of bounds. Evan Simon taking a hurting. Tulsa's defense been in his grill so far in this first quarter. Already, you don't like what you see. You don't want a guy, the starting quarterback, that missed last game to be getting touched this much already.
And we talked about it before the game. This Temple offensive line is completely healthy. So it's pretty unfortunate that they're surrendering that much pressure so often.
2nd and 10. Seems like after every first down, the next play is always a step backwards. And now here's a free corner. Caught, Ashton Allen at the 19-yard line. And it's going to be right at the sticks. And it is going to move the chains. 1st down, Temple. Ashton Allen, Evan Simon picked up the corner, saw him, and he got rid of it quickly. Over to number 28, Ashton Allen.
He sprinted in completely untouched. Good thing he got rid of that ball quickly.
1st and 10 from the 19. Evan Simon going to pass again. Back to Allen. Tackled, staying up as long as he can to the 12-yard, just inside the 12. And that's a solid gain on a 1st down play.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
And the previous 2 seasons with E.J. Warner, we were used to seeing the ball come out of the hands of the quarterback very quick. E.J. would waste no time. He'd get it and throw. Evan Simon doing that same thing here. And it seems to be working.
Picking up the same style of offense from last year. 1:05 remains in the first quarter. Temple's offense really needing a score. Desperate to find the end zone. 2nd and 3 from the 12-yard line. Under a minute to play in the first quarter. Joquez Smith gets the pitch. Looking for room. Joquez Smith dancing. And over just past the 10-yard line. Joquez Smith trying to make something happen. Did the best that he could on that run.
Yeah, Joquez Smith. It's nice to see Joquez Smith starting to get going. He really struggled last year. Had one really good game against Norfolk State last year. That was it. Then really struggled the rest of the year. I mean, he's still really young, just his 2nd year of college. You want to try to get him involved, get him feeling confident. And if him and Therese Worthy could be a nice little 1-2 punch there, That'd be great weapons for Temple to have.
As it stands, the two running backs getting the most looks, Terez Worthy, number 25, and number 24, Joquez Smith. It's 3rd and 1 from the 10-yard line. Simon gives it back to Joquez Smith. He keeps churning, and that's going to be enough for a Temple first down. That's going to make it 1st and goal as we go to the end of the first quarter at Lincoln Financial Field. Temple looking solid, the defense looking stout, and the offense knocking on the door. It's going to be 1st and goal when we come back from Lincoln Financial Field. Be right back on WHIP Radio. Back on WHIP Radio, James Urban and my analyst, Zach Silverstein. And now, Temple offense reversing fields after the switch of quarters. Start of the second quarter, it's going to be 1st and goal from the 9-yard line for Temple's offense. Zach, what are you looking for here?
I'm looking to get the ball to the running back here. I believe it's Terez Worthy out there trying to punch it in. No, it's Smith.
Joquez Smith with the carry up the middle. Going to gain maybe a yard or two to the 7 or 8 yard line. That's going to leave a 2nd and goal. And Zach, we've been stressing they need to find the end zone here.
This would take all the momentum out of that perfect drive you're having.
In
don't put the ball in.
In my opinion, Temple has been dominating this game so far, and only if they have to settle for a field goal here, only being up 6-0 would just be disappointing.
When it honestly could be 14-0 at most, 10-0 at the very least. You can't be 6-0.
Sweep, reverse, over to Antonio Jones, it looked like. And Tulsa was all over it. Tackle made on the Tulsa defense. Number 5, Quan Parker. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, of course.
Of course. I think if I'm Temple, I know it's 3rd down. I said first play, run the ball. If I'm Temple, I'm maybe looking at one of the tight ends. If you can get a tight end, either Peter Clark, Reese Clark, or Daniel Everett, one-on-one, Landon Morris as well.
Landon Morris, like we mentioned, the 60-yard reception. Yeah. Who would have thought?
If you can line him up 1v1, maybe get him on the outside, just have him out-muscle somebody, that could be an easy touchdown.
Morris, Ashton Allen, Morris in motion. Antonio Jones on the far side. Joquez Smith blocking. To the end zone, over the head of Holloway. Holloway inserted into the lineup. Hasn't had many looks so far this year. He made the pass on the trick play, and now that was a pass interference. Now it's going to give Temple another shot and a new set of downs halfway to the end zone. From the 2-yard line now.
Temple kind of getting bailed out right there. Get the fresh set of downs, first down. You got to go back to a tight end here.
And you know, Zach, you mentioned you didn't see Dante Wright, and these are definitely downs where Dante Wright would be in the game. So from what we're looking at right now, it seems that Dante Wright may have suffered an injury. We're going to keep an eye on that. But from the 2-yard line, Joquez Smith to the right of Evan Simon. Hand off to Smith. Smith dancing, and he gets stuffed right where the play started at the 2 or 3-yard line.
See, I'm not sure, because Tulsa's pretty much playing the goal line here, I'm not sure if you're going to have much success running the ball, especially with Worthy and Smith, because they're not bigger backs. They're more guys that are going to make you miss in the open field. And they don't have much open field here because they're at the 3-yard line.
Joquez Smith losing a yard, maybe just under a yard on that gain. Antonio Jones and Ashton Allen on the near sideline. Joquez Smith staying in. Allen motioning. Simon has to get rid of it. Has a man in the back of the end zone, and it's caught. Temple touchdown. You called it, Zach. Peter Clark. Touchdown Owls.
I said Temple's got to get a tight end going here. They find Peter Clark all the way from London, England. He's at Temple. Now Temple, we said they got to put the ball in the end zone, and they did it. Up 9-0, looking to make it 10. That's how you keep the momentum rolling, and you come away with the victory on that drive.
The big man, number 88, Peter Clark. The 6'6", 270-pound sophomore from, you said it, London, England. Maddox Trulio, the big leg, out there for the PAT. Chip shot for Trulio. It is up and true. And Temple finally registering a touchdown. And the Owls go on top, 10-0, with 12:55 to play in the second quarter on their homecoming game.
Temple pretty much doing everything they want to do on offense here. The offense picking apart the defense, and the defense picking apart the offense. Temple's defense is. I mean, this is about as, with the exception of not being able to get the ball in the end zone 2 drives ago, this has been a pretty clean game for Temple. You want to see less pressure put on Evan Simon, so the offensive line needs to step it up a little bit better, protect him a little bit more, but, I mean, everything else, this is how you want to come out right after a bye.
Temple looking good, back at home off the bye week. 10-0 Owls. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. Temple offense finally giving the defense something to play for, giving this team a further lead, going up 10-0 in their homecoming game. 10-0 over Tulsa after the connection from Evan Simon to tight end Peter Clark. Zach, what did you like from that drive?
One thing I liked is how free and easy Temple was able to play. Like I said, a little bit too much pressure being put on Evan Simon, but he has the poise and the calmness to be able to work around it and not make he's making smart decisions where he's not forcing the ball up to where it can be picked off. He's not fumbling the football. I mean, they're playing a really clean football game so far and really want to see it continue. I mean, we talked about it just now during the break. We believe this is the first time that Temple has scored first all season.
I think that they were due for a clean football game. I mean, there's a lot of football to play, 12:55 in the second quarter. But so far, Temple really executing on every end so far. A keeper for Cooper Legas going up the middle. That's going to be a gain of 6 yards on the first down carry. But, I mean, there's not one thing you can complain about for this Temple team.
Yeah, and, I mean, look, you don't want to beat up on Forrest Brock too much. We know he's trying out there. It's really tough, especially coming from JUCO. But when Evan Simon is on the field, the Temple offense just looks a lot more cohesive. They look a lot more comfortable. The ball moves up the field a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently.
And, you know, even with that being said, Temple probably still should have won that game with Forrest Brock in at quarterback 2 weeks ago when they played at UConn. Anthony Watkins with the carry, giving Tulsa the first down out to the 46-yard line.
And being able to play like this, like you said, so early, still only in the first half, but to be able to play like this in front of, by far, the biggest crowd of the season is really encouraging. I mean, if you're a player out there, it's got to add some jolt to you to be able to play in front of people like this.
Couldn't have asked for a better day if you're a Temple fan. 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line, under 12 minutes to go. And Anthony Watkins has zero room, and he's going to be stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. Number 14, Louis Fry. And Latrell Jean taking a hit. 6th-year guy, 5 years at FAU. He's down right at the 45-yard line.
He's one of their single digits, too.
And he's a single-digit guy wearing number 7. Single digits, of course, for this Temple team, meaning that you are a key piece and a leader on this roster. And we are going to take a break as Latrell Jean gets some medical assistance. Temple up 10-0. Latrell Jean up and moving on his own feet. He is all good, it seems like. Great news for this Temple defense. Key piece, a single-digit guy. 2nd and 9 from the 42-yard line. Handoff on the sweep. Number 19, Tempest, and he has no room. Tackle made by number 13, Torrey Richardson, another 6th-year guy.
I mean, this Temple defense,
all over
you can't be playing any better than
on the ball.
Right now. I mean, and the tackling is perfect. They haven't missed a tackle yet. They're diving forward, grabbing up the feet, tripping them up, everything.
Dare I say the Eagles should take notes of Temple's defense right now.
I agree with you, yeah. Playing on their field, too.
Who knows? Maybe they're watching.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the Eagle on midfield.
Under 11 minutes remaining, 10:50 to go in this second quarter. Temple's defense forcing another 3rd and long. Back to pass. Legas going down the far sideline, and it is caught. A great catch made. Number 12 there. Number 12 for the Temple offense. Tulsa offense. Pass complete, but it's still short of the marker to gain. And it's going to be a 4th down stop. Ben Oswiki with the tackle.
Yeah, that right there, like you said, a really nice catch, working back towards the football. It was thrown behind him a little bit, but was able to fight a little bit forward and come down with that catch, but still, Tulsa has to punt.
Angus Davies up and away. Hollowayne back in there to receive punts because we have not seen anything of Dante Wright.
No.
Or heard anything. We'll get back to you guys probably out of halftime if we hear anything about Dante Wright.
Which is unfortunate because Dante Wright is
started out there.
Yeah, we saw him out there to begin the game and then couldn't see him anymore, and he's by far the best receiver on this Temple team. I mean,
it's a great season so far.
Every single game, you're calling his name, it seems like every single play. I mean.
Yeah, Dante Wright, stats, something along the lines of 40, 45 receptions for 600 yards, and I think 5 touchdowns, 4 or 5 touchdowns so far on the year. Dante Wright,
just really the only consistent bright spot.
Just a phenomenal weapon for this offense, and now Temple's offense going to have to play without him. But right now, a 10-0 lead with under 10 minutes to go, 9:55. Temple starting on their own 8-yard line. Simon over the middle, pass caught. And a great tackle, a big hit there. It's number 84, Daniel Everett.
It's really nice to see Temple working those tight ends. I mean, they have a lot of really good ones, 5 that they can work with at any moment. And Evan Simon comfortable dumping it off to them.
Simon going to keep it again. Looking downfield. He has a man. Caught. Stays on his feet. Looks like that was number 89, Stewart. 86, excuse me. And that's going to be a Temple 1st down. Pass completed. A lot of new guys getting a lot of looks for this Temple offense. Simon passing quickly, has pressure, looking downfield. Antonio Jones, pass caught, going past midfield and getting tackled right at the 48-yard line of Tulsa. And now, Zach, this Temple offense really getting going.
Yeah, they're marching down the field, just really exposing the middle of the field, letting that ball fly. And you got to keep going to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Antonio Jones getting plenty of looks in this first half. Nearing the 8:30 mark of the second quarter. Dump down, pass caught. Looks like that was number 25, Therese Worthy with the catch. Might have hauled that in with one hand if we're looking at the replay.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah, one-hand grab.
And then he got tripped up. He might have been able to get a much bigger gain if not tripped up, but little 3-yard gain.
3-yard gain by Therese Worthy on the dump down. Back to Antonio Jones, trying to make a man miss. Stays on his feet, and he tumbles forward for a Temple 1st down. What a play by Antonio Jones.
He got completely spun around and kind of thrown into that first
Stayed
down.
on his feet.
Yeah.
Now that's core strength right there.
100%. And they're picking apart this Tulsa defense. I mean, Evan Simon is now 13 for 16.
You know what? He's doing a great job at looking at all of his options and taking his time right now.
He's not telegraphing his passes at all.
No, not the original look. It seemed like was Therese Worthy on the dump down.
Yep.
Didn't go to him. Over to Antonio Jones for a Temple 1st down. That's going to move the chains to the Tulsa 37-yard line. 1st and 10 with 7:25. Looks like there's some early movement. Illegal substitution, 12 guys on the field, and that's kind of the first mistake of the day for the Temple offense.
I mean, that's really unfortunate. I mean, there's times where you're going to jump and have a false start sometimes, and 12 men on the
12
field.
12 men.
You got to be able to be a little bit more disciplined than that. Count before you go out there, and I'm sure Stan Drayton's probably not happy at all on the sideline.
Might be one of the most annoying penalties.
I mean, it's something that should never happen. Especially when you have the momentum and you're marching down the field, and then you shoot yourself in the foot, and now you're backed up 5 yards.
It's going to back him up 5. 1st and 15 from the 42 of Tulsa. Exactly 7 on the play clock. Simon takes the snap. Over the middle, and it went through the hands of Antonio Jones. And like you mentioned, now that flag really hurts.
Yeah, and now the thing is, if you're going to have a flag like that, 12 men on the field, you got to be able to respond. you can't follow it up with a drop pass right there. The pass was a little high by Simon, but definitely one that could have been caught by Jones and one he would like to have back.
Now, Zach, you see Antoine Littleton inserted into the game. He's getting his first looks of the day halfway through this second quarter.
And he's one of those running backs that likes to play some bully ball. He's going to run right through you for his yards.
Second and long. Simon dropping back. Looking. Caught by Holloway. Holloway looks like it's going to be a gain of about 10 yards, leaving Temple with a third and 5. Yep, a 10-yard gain by Holloway, who was involved in the trick play. That seemed like that was practiced all week.
Oh, that hadn't been practiced.
As soon as the snap was made, he dropped back 2 yards to make sure it was a backwards pass,
Yep.
a legal pass, and then made the throw to the tight end, Holloway, making a name for himself. Caught Landon Morris past the 20, right around the 15, and Temple's offense is going to keep moving, so even after the 12 men on the field penalty, Evan Simon is able to stick with it and keep the chains moving. First and 10 on the 17-yard line.
Yeah, Temple running a lot of slants in the middle of the field, and it keeps working for them.
And now Tulsa clearly trying to catch their breath.
They're trying to regroup.
They are trying to catch their breath. Tulsa on their heels right now. And this Temple offense looking about the best that they have looked all year. You see those yards right now, Zach. 209 total yards so far. 18 on the ground. And 190 through the air. You're liking what you're seeing, Zach.
I love what I'm seeing. Evan Simon, we were worried with him coming back from that injury, but like we said in our open to the broadcast, that bye week came at a perfect time. Let everybody rest up, get healthy, and, I mean, they're just attacking this Tulsa defense. We knew coming in this was a game that Temple could win, but we didn't know which Temple team we were going to see. Were we going to see the one that looks together and connected, or one that looks all out of sorts like we're used to seeing these past couple seasons? And we're definitely seeing the one that is playing together and that is connected. And look, 10-0 with 6 minutes to go here in this first half has a chance to be 17-0, and maybe if they get the ball in the end zone here, you couldn't ask for a better start.
Certainly knocking on the door with 6 minutes to go. Ball on the 17-yard line, first and 10. Everything going phenomenally for Temple on both sides of the ball.
They've only allowed 58 yards.
Yeah, only
as well. So
Temple just allowing only 17 passing yards and 41 yards on the ground. Just continuing to dominate on the defensive end. And I remember in the presser after the game against Coastal Carolina, reporter asked, defense playing great. Still looking for those turnovers. When do you think everything is going to click? And Andreas Keaton, the safety, said real soon. This team is very close to being right there with playing the best football that they can possibly play, and it seems like they have reached that point.
And following that, the next week against Utah State here, the Temple's only win of the season so far, had a turnover. They forced a turnover that game. Could have had 2 interceptions. One was dropped. Probably could have been an easy walk-in pick 6 had it been caught, but Andres Keaton said the takeaways are coming. Then they got one the following week. Then they go to UConn. Well, then they struggle against Army. Then they go to UConn, have 2 takeaways and a block punt for a touchdown. And then we thought they had one today. The call was overturned. Thought Jalen Lewis had the interception.
I still don't think that was an interception.
That was close.
That's what I'm saying. I think on the nationally televised broadcast there may have been another angle.
They had an angle
but from our replay, it seemed like that was an interception from our view.
The only thing I could say is that he didn't survive the ground. That would have to be the only thing that they were looking at. He got 1 foot down. We know that. Had to get that 1 foot down.
But yeah, Zach, now this Temple offense, an opportunity to go up 3 scores, which would be huge.
That would be a major luxury. The Temple defense is already calm, but being up 17 would make them even more calm because Tulsa would be in survive mode.
Holloway in motion, Antonio Jones in the backfield. Gives it off to Jones, and Jones bouncing outside. Doesn't have any room. He stays on his feet. Antonio Jones, the dynamic player thus far in the first half. I called out his name the first play he got the ball. I was like, this guy is a solid player for this Temple offense.
He's dynamic. He's the guy that could go deep. You can throw him a deep ball, middle of the field, sidelines, or you dump it off to him, and he's great in the open field. He can make some guys miss. He's so fast and so quick that if it's a one-on-one, no way he's being tackled.
Number 19, Antonio Jones, senior from Grambling State, played 3 seasons at Grambling State before coming to North Philadelphia. He's from Clayton County, Georgia. Simon, back to pass, has a man. Caught by John Adams at the 1-yard line. Get off of me. What a grab by John Adams with a corner draped all over him.
What a throw and what a catch. John Adams working back to the football, doing some hand fighting there, but just shows how strong he is. A nice one-on-one catch on the sideline. That was a perfect throw and a really great catch.
John Adams, a terrific story, joined the team as a walk-on in the summer of 2021. Just earned his scholarship before this season started, told his team how much he loved his guys, and now making an impact in this first half against Tulsa. Adams on the near sideline, all alone. From the 1. Handoff, Terez Worthy, and he is in. Touchdown, Owls. And now Temple is up 3 scores as Terez Worthy breaks into the end zone.
Terez Worthy really starting to improve himself these past couple weeks. Like we said, unfortunate that E.J. Wilson was struggling, but that opened the door wide open for Terez Worthy. Now Temple finds themselves up 16-0. They may have a weapon that they can work with for the rest of the season here.
Maddox Trulio back out there for the 20-yard chip shot. Looking to put this PAT through. And if Maddox Trulio can put this one up and good, it will give Temple a 3-score lead. Snap is set, down, and it is up and good, and just like that, Temple homecoming going A-OK. The Owls are up 17-0 at home with 4:23 remaining in the second quarter. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. After the score from the 1-yard rushing touchdown, Therese Worthy breaks into the end zone and gives the Owls a 3-score lead, 17-0, with 4:23 to go in this second quarter. Zach, probably the most complete football game thus far for Temple.
This is by far the best they played all season. I know they scored 40-plus points against Utah State, but they weren't as dynamic on both sides of the ball that they were in this game. I mean, everybody on this team is playing great, with the exception of the offensive line, like we keep saying.
The only knock,
That's
really.
the only knock, but still,
Yeah.
but Evan Simon is adapting to it and adjusting, which is what you want to see from a guy that has that experience. Coming from Rutgers, played against some of the best defenses in the entire country. He knows what to do. He knows how to handle it. When you're playing against teams like Ohio State and Penn State and Maryland and Michigan and all those guys, you know what to do. And that's exactly what they're doing.
8 plays, 75 yards, and a score on the last drive. Worthy's score was the first rushing touchdown by a running back this year for Temple. Not a stat that you love to hear, I
Not
guess,
at all.
when it's week 6. And there's a sack made by number 3, Trey Thomas. That's going to back the offense for Tulsa to the 12-yard line. And now Tulsa finding themselves in some trouble in this first half.
So the kryptonite for this Temple defense is a quarterback that can move. We saw it when Ligas was in there. He was being able to run free. Navy did it. Army did it. UConn did it a little bit. When there's a quarterback in there that needs to stay in the pocket, Temple's fine.
Now we have a new look at QB for Tulsa, as there's a dump down. Looks like it was number 3, Bill Jackson, on the dump down. Yep, number 3, Bill Jackson. And by the way, new quarterback in for Houston. Number 2, Cardell Williams, the 6'2", 183-pound sophomore from Houston. Williams keeping it himself, making a move, trying to make a man miss, but Taekwon King says none of that.
Taekwon King with a really aggressive tackle right there. We saw Cardell Williams a second prior kind of shake a defender free, juke him out, and Taekwon King was having none of that. He was able to bring him down.
And now that's one of the quicker 3-and-outs that you'll see.
Yep.
And this Temple defense, just this unit right now is clicking.
This looks like the Temple defense that we're used to seeing, I mean, over the past decade, 2 decades, really. I mean, last season the defense really struggled, gave up a lot of points seemingly every week. But even in the years where Temple as a team struggled, the defense was always solid and trying to get back into form, and they're doing it today.
Another ugly punt. Received past the 50, past the 40, going the other way, all the way into the 25-yard line by Temple. Flag on the field. We'll see if it comes back. May have been a holding somewhere. Holding receiving team. Would have been a return all the way to the 27-yard line at Temple. And it was from a guy that we don't hear much of, number 89, Stewart, now in the lineup, returning punts, as it's clear now that Dante Wright is not healthy. We have not seen him out there since seemed like the first drive of the game.
Yeah, if Dante Wright was healthy, he would have been back there receiving that punt 100%. But Stewart was able to read that punt. He read the bounce on it, came out with it, and just took off.
Angus Davies.
He knew he had a chance.
Angus Davies, an ugly punt. It was a phenomenal return by Stewart, but he will not be accounted for those return yards as there was a holding. But nonetheless, with 2:16 remaining in this first half, Temple's going to have the ball back.
That's a major killer.
Major killer there, because, I mean,
you could have been at the Tulsa, about 27, but now you're at your own 35.
2:16 remains in the first half. Temple up 17-0, 1st and 10 from their own 35. Evan Simon, Landon Morris in motion. Ashton Allen on the near sideline. Simon looking. Fleeing out to the right side, and he's got to toss it out of bounds. It's going to stop the clock at 2:10.
That right there is something I really like from Evan Simon. You're up 17-0, comfortable lead, but he's still not trying to force anything. He's not saying, oh, we're up 17-0. Let me just try it, take a shot. If they intercept it, who cares? No. He had the pressure, rolled out to his right, And you know what? He said, I'm going to dump it off out of bounds, live to see another play, live to see another down. That's experience right there. Not trying to do too much, even when you have a big lead and you could afford to.
Antonio Jones on the near sideline. Holloway and Ashton Allen on the far sideline. Della Pesca blocking. Handoff. Not much room for Joquez Smith. That's going to bring us to a 3rd and 10 and the 2-minute warning from Lincoln Financial Field. Score remains at 17-0 in favor of the Owls. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. Back from the 2-minute warning here on WHIP Radio. James Urban and Zach Silverstein here. Temple still up 17-0. They have looked phenomenal in this first half. Both ends of the football. Defense playing well. Terez Worthy and Peter Clark finding the end zone for Temple. Now it is 3rd and 9 from 36. Simon looking. Goes through his options. Simon fleeing right. Trying to find a man. Downfield, and he has to throw it out of bounds. Nothing there. Simon trying to make something of the play, but once again, a smart option just to throw it away, Zach.
It looked like he had James Della Pesca open maybe once or twice, but didn't want to force it. I mean, I guess look, when your defense is playing this well, you feel comfortable turning the ball. You feel comfortable giving the ball back to Tulsa's offense because you know that your defense will hold it down and possibly, I mean, only there's 150 left. Who knows? They could get the ball back for Temple's offense, but Evan Simon making the smart play, the safe play, not trying to force anything.
So the first true stop for the Tulsa defense. They will get the ball back with 1:40 to go. Atten with his line drive punt, and that's going to bounce all the way inside the 15 and down at the 13-yard line of Tulsa. So not a bad punt there this time for Dante Atten.
No, it was definitely a line drive punt, but like we said, earlier in the game, he relies on the bounces.
Ugly punting today.
Yeah, it is very ugly
There's not a
punting.
lot of pretty punts
No.
being kicked here at Lincoln Financial
Not
Field.
at all. And that's why if you're Temple, like when you're backed up and you have to punt the ball, you're pretty much giving Tulsa like pretty good field position right off the bat.
Doesn't seem like it, but this possession here for Temple's defense, you really don't want to give Tulsa any life heading into halftime.
Not at all. No, I mean, the last thing you want is for them to get into the end zone going into halftime to maybe feel some confidence a little bit. You want to keep going at them, pushing them to the ground and making them feel like they're struggling.
Kirk Francis back in at quarterback for Tulsa. So clearly something's up with this Tulsa offense because they just can't get one quarterback to click. We've seen it start with Legas and then going to Kirk Francis, and then on the last drive, we saw Cardell Williams. Francis letting it fly to Camden, and that seems like it's his first real true reception of the day.
And going back to the quarterbacks, they're on their third quarterback this game. I mean, to me, Cooper Legas has had the best game of the three. He's 3 for 4, 17 yards, was able to run a little bit as well. Maybe he got hurt, I'm not sure, but 3 different quarterback looks.
A good throw there from Kirk Francis, completing it to the tight end, number 87, Luke McGarry. The big man, sophomore, 6'3", 240 pounds from Plano, Texas. Now there is under a minute remaining in the first half, 50 seconds. Tulsa looking to get on the board before halftime. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line, over the top, and he air mails it, intended for number 7.
Yeah, and that right there, Elijah Derriville came in late. Kind of had a hit while he was in midair. Lucky that it wasn't much, but could have gotten called for a penalty there. But if you're Temple, if Tulsa, they're going to try to throw the ball, of course, because if it's an incomplete pass, the clock stops. If the ball's called, you want to keep them inbounds. They only have one timeout left, Tulsa does, so want to keep that clock running if you're Temple.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Francis stepping up in the pocket, has a man behind him. He flees out, has to run it. He's going to be down at the 41-yard line, and they are going to have to burn their last timeout. So with 35 seconds remaining, Tulsa is going to have to burn their last timeout. And now, Zach, how do you operate trying to get points on the board if you're Tulsa's offense? With 36 seconds remaining, 3rd and 4, you're on your own 40. This is going to be a tough ask to even get in field goal range.
Yeah, well, for me, I think you have to just let the ball fly through the air. You got to take some deep shots. Even if Temple intercepts the ball, it's probably going to be intercepted about, well, maybe the 15, 20-yard line. So it's not like Temple will have much opportunities to put points on the board themselves if they do force that turnover. So it's 3rd and 4 here. And I'm not sure if it's 4-down territory here if you don't get the first down, but I mean, you got to put the ball in the air.
And, you see that a lot lately. An arm punt, you can try and get a flag for pass interference if you look downfield. Francis looking downfield, fleeing to the right. Intercepted! Kirk Francis intercepted for the 2nd time today. Number 20, Jamel Johnson. Jamel Johnson, the transfer from Charleston Southern, comes in and makes the big play.
Well, I said that if the ball was intercepted, it might be at about the 15 or 20-yard line. That one came at about the 45-yard line, and now, especially with the kicker that Temple has, with Maddox Trujillo, I mean, we could be looking at a 20-0 halftime lead here for the Owls.
Jamel Johnson cutting over into the route. And that's what hurts when you don't have a lot of guys that you can throw to. That was Camden Benjamin. Well, that pass was intended for. Clearly a force by Kirk Francis. And now the freshman quarterback, and you can see why they have trouble with this quarterback room and why we've seen 3 different QBs, because this freshman quarterback, who was originally a starter, already 2 interceptions in this first half.
We were told by Andres Keaton that the takeaways were coming.
They came.
They were certainly coming.
28 seconds remain in the first half. Evan Simon looking downfield for Landon Morris. And it is almost caught. Try to moss a man on the defensive end for the Tulsa defense was number 1, Dane Hange, the junior from Rock Island, Illinois. Landon Morris, the 60-yard catch and run earlier.
And I'm totally fine with that pass right there. Simon did underthrow Landon Morris a little bit, but if you have the bigger target out there going up against a smaller defender, you got to take that shot one-on-one. And like I said, he underthrew it, so the pass was not able to be complete, but still got, 20 seconds to work with.
20 seconds to work with, and you mentioned it, Maddox Trulio. Definitely near his range because it's far out.
We could be. Could you imagine if we see another 60-yarder today?
I don't know what the exact yard line. I guess it's the 41, like 42 for a 60-yarder. For a 60-yarder, yeah, the 42 or the 43-yard line because the snap goes back about 6 or 7 yards. Yep. Yeah. So if Temple wants to have a shot at a field goal, they're going to have to get about 9 more yards, but you definitely want to get a little bit closer just to help him out a little bit.
And we saw against UConn, he missed a little chip shot. I think it was about like a 34-yard field goal at UConn that he missed, but made the 60-yarder. But, I mean, if you can get him to about that 45-yard spot, I mean, it's pretty much automatic.
Yeah, so I was doing the UConn game, and obviously he missed that chip shot. He kicked it so far, though, that it went into the concourse. It went past the first lower bowl of seats and went into the concourse. It was nuts. But Temple offense looking to grow the lead, and they will get the ball out of halftime. 20 seconds remain. 2nd and 10 on their own 48. Near Maddox Trulio's field goal range. Simon fleeing once again. He's going to have to get rid of it. Simon leaving the pocket a lot recently.
Yeah, and he really has no other option. He has to because of the pressure that he's receiving, but he's been able to make it work. Last couple drives, he's had to throw a lot of balls out of bounds, which, like we said, it's the smart play for him, but doesn't give the receivers much opportunity to get open. Where they run their route, they turn around, they see their quarterback scrambling. Now they're just trying to improv and get open any way they can.
Pass intended for number 86, Xavier Irvin. We have not seen much of so far this season. But now Temple, play clock going down all the way to 0. They're going to call a timeout. And Zach, what play call are you looking for here with 3rd and 10, 48? Are you going to try and make a play, get to the sticks, maybe get a field goal?
Yeah, if I'm
still got one timeout to burn.
Yeah, and if I'm Temple, I'm taking a shot to the middle of the field. I don't necessarily know if you need the first down right off the bat, like we said, because of the leg of Maddox Trujillo. But
3rd and 10.
I mean,
12 seconds to go with the timeout.
You want at least 7 yards here, I'd say.
So you can stay in bounds. You just want to get down rather quickly.
Yes.
And obviously, you want to get to around the 40-yard line for Trulio to be able to kick a 60-yarder. It's just such a luxury knowing in your back pocket you have a kicker that can make a 60-yarder.
Yep.
So Simon, 3 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Simon looking over the middle, and there was a miscue. Landon Morris and Zay Baines almost ran into each other, and that would have been the pass to get Maddox Trulio into field goal range. And you saw, number 80 and number 81, Zay Baines and Landon Morris, just kind of bump into each other.
Yeah, it looked like their routes kind of made them cross paths. And Baines maybe thought, I got it, then pulled back last second because he knew Morris was there. And by that time, maybe Morris had given up on it, thinking that Zay Baines was going to catch it. But we have Evan Simon still out there.
And now Evan Simon trying to get the offense ready because the play clock is going down.
He's trying to get Tulsa to jump, I think. Oh, man.
They're going to run one last play. Evan Simon is going to let it fly downfield. And it will be intercepted with 0 seconds on the clock, and that is going to bring us to halftime. The Tulsa defense celebrating for kind of no reason, but that is going to bring us to halftime from Lincoln Financial Field. Temple's homecoming game going phenomenally thus far, up 17-0. Temple will receive the ball out of halftime. We'll be back on WHIP Radio. Back for the second half of the 2024 Temple football homecoming game. 17-0 Temple on top right now. James Urban here with my analyst, Zach Silverstein. And Zach, Temple coming in today, 1-5. Certainly don't look 1-5.
No, they look like a team. They look like a completely different team that we've seen all season, with the exception of that game against Utah State. They played pretty well in that game, but the defense certainly didn't play as well in that game as they are right now. Played really good against UConn 2 weeks ago, had the bye, came right into this game after that bye and picked up right where they left off. I mean, this is by far, like you said, the most complete game they've played all season.
Making plays left and right on the defense, holding Tulsa to under 100 yards of offense in that first half, winning on time of possession by 3.5 minutes, and we are under a minute away from starting this second half. Temple certainly playing up to their standards so far, and yeah, that bye week is just, it's always huge for a team. And you said in the pregame how brutal of that UConn loss was. The bye week couldn't have came at a better time.
Yeah, it came at a perfect time, and obviously they used that time very wisely. And whatever they were struggling with, they were able to correct it. Now, look, Tulsa is not a great team. They're 2-4 coming in. But sometimes all it takes is a really dominant win. And, look, still a whole other half football to play. I'm not going to sit here and say that Temple won this game. But if they can win this game and continue to play the way they've been playing, sometimes all it takes is one really good win against a not-so-great team to get that confidence up.
And you know what? I think that because Temple played super tough teams to start the season, this made them well prepared for today against Tulsa. I think if they were to play Tulsa in week 1 or 2, they would not be playing this well.
No, they would not, because then they would have been able to maybe pick up a win or two off the bat and feel like, oh, yeah, like we're having a really great season. But no, you played some pretty bad competition to start. And this is the first time in a while that they haven't played a team like Norfolk State or Lafayette. They played 2 years ago, coming right out with all FBS competition.
Terez Worthy with the kick return out to the 25. Terez Worthy, the dynamic, seems to have gotten the starting nod at running back. Well, it's really a committee for this Temple offense, but right now Terez Worthy and Joquez Smith have been getting most of the carries so far at home, coming off the bye today. Once again, Temple wearing the cherry jerseys and pants with the white helmets, and Tulsa wearing the white jerseys and golden pants, golden helmets. The Owls up 17-0 to start this second half. Ball on the 25, 1st and 10, Evan Simon already 220 yards through the air. Simon with the pitch to Terez Worthy. Terez Worthy will get a yard on the first down carry.
And just continuing, trying to continue off of Terez Worthy. Temple has one rushing touchdown by a running back this season. It came by Terez Worthy in this game, in the first half. So, I mean, not what you want to see for it to take until game number 7 to be able to have that first rushing touchdown by a running back. But
we saw that stat. I was like,
there's no way.
I mean, that's good news for today, but it's not really a good stat that it took that long to finally get a running back into the end zone. But Evan Simon on the keeper, staying on his feet, and he's going to get the first down, lunging forward past the 35.
You know, one thing I like to see from Evan Simon is how willing he is to keep the football and run and take that contact, even coming off the injury. You think that maybe he would be a little bit hesitant, like he would be kind of hesitant there, wouldn't want to get hit. He's staying in there. He's tough.
Evan Simon quickly out on the far sideline to number 17, John Adams, who we saw in that first half, made a man's grab.
Yeah, that was a really nice throw, but an even better catch. He was fighting over there on the sideline, 1v1, and was able to just show how strong he is in bringing that catch. And we said it all fair. We want to see John Adams get on the field a lot more. He's a really good receiver. Want to see him utilized more than he's been.
So John Adams with the 5-yard grab after the first down run by Evan Simon. Ball out to the 41-yard line, 2 minutes through in the second half. Antonio Jones, little pitch work from Evan Simon. He's going to be stopped just short of the marker to gain. 13:04 in the third quarter. It's going to leave Temple with a 3rd and 2, it looks like. 3rd and 2 at the 44-yard line.
And I think with a 17-0 lead, you're going to see Temple probably run the ball a lot. You want to keep that clock moving as much as possible. You throw in a pass here and there, but I expect to see a lot of passes this second half if the game stays this far apart.
Big 3rd down on the first drive of the second half for Temple. Dump down to Landon Morris. Landon Morris cutting up field on the near sideline, tackled at the 50, and that's a 1st down for Temple.
That's exactly what we need. If you're going to pass the ball, it's nice little dump-offs where it's a guaranteed completion. And Landon Morris, we heard his name called a lot today. A big 58-yard gain in the first quarter, and he's really built off that. Evan Simon, it's nice to see how diverse he is when it comes to the weapons that he uses. It's not one guy over and over.
I was just about to say the same, like, we have been calling out so many different names today.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Halloween with trick plays. Number 85, he's made a name for himself today. And Landon
Irvin,
Morris. Yep,
Stewart.
Xavier Irvin. Handoff. Therese Worthy trying to make something happen. But he's going to lose a yard on the 1st down carry. It seems like the passing game is definitely working a little bit better than the rushing attack so far. But nonetheless, offense is offense. And if you look at the total yards, Temple actually nearing 300, and they might eclipse Tulsa by 200 total yards very soon.
Yeah, they're definitely. Yeah, they got 266.
266, so they are just a few yards away from being 200 yards over Tulsa's offense. Simon hands it off to Therese Worthy, and once again, he has nowhere to go, losing another yard. It's going to be 3rd and 12. Now at the 49-yard line.
So maybe here, Tulsa might have been able to see something at halftime that they were doing wrong, and they may be trying to correct it because the run game so far this drive has not been the same as what it was in the first half.
And you know, you can't get too comfortable. 17 points. It's a good lead. It's not a great lead.
Yeah, this game is not over.
This game is far from over as Temple looks at a 3rd and long, 3rd and 12 with 10:40 in the 3rd quarter. Evan Simon, joined by Antoine Littleton in the backfield. Simon lets it fly, and he misses Zay Baines. Intended for number 80, Zay Baines, the 5th year from Roanoke, Virginia. And that's going to be a stop for the Tulsa defense.
There have been a lot of miscues in the past 3 games when trying to find Zay Baines on the pass. I mean, his first game of the season was against Army. There were 2 miscues in that game where I'm not sure if he either ran the wrong route or there was just a miscommunication on both sides between Simon and Baines. But UConn, he had a couple that I remember, and then today, just there, here today against Tulsa. I mean, only his 3rd game of the year, but a lot of miscommunications for a guy that has a lot of experience. You don't want to see that. Like, even though he missed time in the beginning of the year, you got to be on the same page.
Punt. Not as much of a line drive punt there from Dante Adden, but it is downed at the 12-yard line of Tulsa. So now Tulsa not fully out of it, and they got a stop that they desperately needed coming out of that halftime. And now they have a chance to make this a 10-point game.
And one thing you didn't want to see, so Temple ended that first half with a pick. Evan Simon tried to, look, there was no time on the clock. He threw it up, tried to make something happen. Tulsa came down with that the interception. And you were hoping that Temple wouldn't be flat coming back onto the field to start the second half, but they're looking a little flat right now. I mean, you end the first half flat, start the second half flat. The last thing you want now is for Tulsa to march down the field and find the end zone.
We will be right back on WHIP Radio in 2 minutes as Tulsa gets back on offense. 10:29 remains in the 3rd quarter. 10:29 remains in the third quarter. Tulsa's defense gets the stop that they needed. And now down 17-0. They get the ball back on their own 12-yard line. Offense has been struggling so far this game, but now they have their first look of the second half. In at quarterback is Kirk Francis is back in there after throwing 2 interceptions in that first half, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I wonder is if there's something wrong with Cooper Legas. Maybe he got injured because, I mean, he was only out there for a drive or two, but he looked pretty good. He looked a lot better than Kirk Francis has been looking in this game. But like you said, Tulsa running out there with 3 different quarterbacks and not really sure what they want to do. And I think they're just trying to find one guy that's going to click, and they're still searching for him.
Handoff. Over. Looks like it was number Anthony Watkins, number 23, the lead back.
The defense still looking strong here.
3rd and 10 once again. This Tulsa offense hasn't gotten anything going, and they haven't gotten anything going on the first 2 downs of this drive. And now they're looking at a tall task with it being 3rd and 10 on their own 12-yard line.
And Tulsa's 1 for 7 on 3rd down, so we said Temple's a great 3rd down defense. They've shown it.
7 attempts, 1 conversion for Tulsa so far. 8th attempt on 3rd down here. Over the middle, and it's going to be pass interference. That was number 21, Jalen Lewis, who almost hauled in that first interception. Holding on number 21, Jalen Lewis.
So
the corner.
Kind of continuing that trend where you said it before, James, where you make something big happen, and then you shoot yourself right in the foot and you go backwards.
1 step forward, 2 steps back. But it has been less of that today.
Yeah, there's been less.
Temple's still, I think they're playing a little bit better than that analogy right now. Yeah. But a tough, 3rd and long, you never want to give something up like that.
3rd and 10, you don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. Especially with the passing game that Tulsa has had today. I mean, 34 yards through the air for Tulsa, just struggling. Kirk Francis looking downfield, has a man. And that will be PI once again. Torrey Richardson all the way down to the 33-yard line. Pass was intended for number 7, Zion Steptoe.
So far, seeing a completely different team in the second half than what we saw in the first half. Just not playing disciplined on defense. The offense struggled on their first drive of this half. The last thing you want to do is bail out a team when they're down by 17. You're up 17-0. You don't want to play free and play loose, but you should have some mojo, have some confidence. You can't be bailing out. There can't be back-to-back penalties when you're up 17-0.
Luckily in college, it's just a 15-yard penalty on pass interference. It's not the spot of the foul. That would have put Tulsa all the way down to the 33-yard line. Kirk Francis has a man wide open. Anthony Watkins, room to run. Watkins is going to go into the end zone. Tulsa gets on the board. Kirk Francis finds the running back wide open. Anthony Watkins, the senior from Fort Worth, finds the end zone.
An absolute nightmare start for the Owls in this second half, but now you want to see how they can respond coming back onto the field. Temple's offense will get the ball. I think Tulsa's going to go for 2. No, they're going to kick the field goal here, try to make it 17-7, but like I said, an absolute nightmare start.
Number 11, Seth Morgan, the place kicker for Tulsa, trots out there, looking to make it a 10-point game. The kick is up, and it is true. Just like that, Tulsa only down 10 coming out of halftime. 8:59 remains in the third quarter. We have a game on our hands, folks. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. back on WHIP Radio. James Urban alongside Zach Silverstein. And Zach, don't get too comfortable. 17-7, Tulsa just got on the board on a major touchdown. How many yards was that one? That was a 63-yard touchdown.
Wide open.
Wide open to the running back, Anthony Watkins. Now we have a game on our hands. Therese Worthy returning just past the 20-yard line. So you didn't like what you saw out of halftime?
No, not at all. The offense looked flat. The defense looked flat and just no discipline either. Back-to-back penalties, and then right to a 63-yard touchdown to follow it up. I mean, I said it before the break, a nightmare start for Temple on both sides of the ball, but now you got to respond. How can the offense come out, still up by 10, got to put points on the board here. At the very least, you kick a field goal, go up 20-7, but you want to try to find the end zone here. Let Evan Simon do his thing and take some shots in the middle of the field. You can't I said before, run the ball, try to run the clock out. No, you got to be able to get some big yards through the air.
Simon surveying over the middle to James Della Pesca. He's going to trudge forward, and that's going to be enough for a Temple first down, so a solid play on that first down for Temple. 8:40 to go.
Simon moving quick, too, right up to the line.
They have been moving quick after every first down.
Yep.
Handoff, Joquez Smith. Joquez Smith finds some room to start. That's going to be a 6-yard carry on the first down. Those are the kinds of plays you need on those first downs.
Those are the last thing you want to do is have a 1st and 10, and then you either gain a yard or maybe you lose 2. You want to be able to get a nice gain.
And you know what's so disappointing about that last drive for the Temple's defense? They had them 3rd and 10 on their own 10-yard line.
Yep. They had a punt forced, essentially.
And then
the hold.
You know, the holding call, and then the 63-yard touchdown. Simon has a man in his grill, and he has to put this one in the dirt. Once again, a man running free at Evan Simon.
Seems like every time they blitz, they just have no trouble coming right through. It's like the blockers not picking him up and Simon having to run for his life. But again, he saw it, he's smart, he picked it up, was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Third and 4. And you talk about a crucial third down here, Zach. Number 22, Chris Thompson was in on the pressure. Linebacker from Duncanville, Texas on the last play. 7:56 remains, 3rd and 4. Simon receives it, dumps it off to Joquez Smith, and he dances out of bounds. And that looks like it's going to be a stop for the Tulsa defense. And now you can feel the vibe in Lincoln Financial Field. Things are getting a little tense now.
A lot of nervous energy.
As this lead dwindles. Didn't really have many options, and you can't blame Joquez Smith. He didn't really have much room to work with.
No, not much else he could do there. Now you're forced to punt. And like we said with Dante Atten, with those low line drive punts, the last thing you want is for it to be able to get returned to midfield.
All I see from the 20-yard line to the 40-yard line is a lot of room to run. And there is, once again, the line drive punt from Dante Atten.
That was a good one.
Camden Benjamin receives it. And John Adams, the man who can do it all, who actually scored the punt block touchdown at UConn 2 weeks ago. John Adams, the receiver, making the tackle on special teams. And you know what? This is something that Temple has struggled with all year, putting together an entire game of football.
I know Stan Drayton's talked about it for
cannot put together
the 3 years he's been here. No, you got to be able to play a complete 4 quarters of football, and they can't do it. They either have 1 really good quarter and 3 bad ones, or a great half and a bad half. We saw a great half to start the game.
Right now, it's
so far a really bad half.
Right now, it's looking like a good first half and a bad second half so far. 8 minutes through this third quarter. Kirk Francis is going to keep it. He's going to run. He's going to dive to the 26-yard line for a gain of 3. So it looks like on the first 2 drives, Kirk Francis has now inserted himself into the starting quarterback position. It got confusing in that first half between Francis Legas, and then you even saw Cardell Williams, the third stringer, in there for a few plays. But right now, after Kirk Francis finally found a man for a long touchdown, he is back out there. 2nd and 7. Francis keeping it. Trying to find Camden Benjamin, and there's a late flag.
I saw that there might
Number
have been a
24.
hold there. I was
Yeah.
wondering where the flag was. Came in late, but definitely deserved. Again, very unfortunate for the Owls. This is the first time that they've had to play ahead really all season. I mean, they won that Utah State game. They took the lead late, but they never scored first and then had to maintain that lead throughout the entire game. And they're looking like a team so far that doesn't know how to play with a lead.
Had a 17-point lead, and now it is 10. 17-7, Tulsa trails after the flag. They have it from the 36-yard line. Kirk Francis looking downfield, and he has his man to the 48-yard line, Camden Benjamin.
And that right there is about the second or third time this game where Kirk Francis intentionally threw the ball short so that his receiver could work back to it, and they really have that down pat. They're really good at that right there. Just being able to play one-on-one on the sideline and work back to the football.
The previous penalty that moved the chains was on corner number 24, Ben Oswecki from Richmond, Texas. Played 2 years of JUCO ball at Bin College. And the long pass completed to Camden Benjamin. Pass midfield, and now Bill Jackson on the first down carry. Will run it for 3 or 4 yards to the 44-yard line.
And James, it kind of seems like they just completely swapped uniforms, huh? We're seeing Temple play like Tulsa and Tulsa play like Temple. Looks like the complete opposites of what we saw in the first half for both teams.
Now Tulsa knocking on the door to make this a one-possession game. 5:20 remains in the third. Francis backing up, has a man downfield. And that was, I was going to say good defense, but once again, Ben Oswicki, it's going to be PI on him. A lot of hand fighting between him and Benjamin.
I was going to say, that might be a questionable
I don't know about that one.
It looked like Benjamin might have started with the contact first, and then Ben Oswicki was just fighting back with him. No foul. He initiated the contact, Benjamin.
We've watched a lot of football. Me and you both thought that was
No
clean.
way. Yeah.
I thought, that seemed from our angle that was pretty clean defense. And now, Zach, you want to talk about a huge third down.
Here we go again. Temple has been successful on third down, but had it on the last drive. Pretty much got the stop, but it was a hold on Jalen Lewis. You got to get this stop. You get this stop, you probably force Tulsa to punt, unless they feel like they're close enough to the first down to where they want to risk going for it. But, I mean, this could be a huge momentum shift on both sides.
Moving quickly out of the huddle. 3rd and 5 from the 44. Handoff. Sweep. Tulsa. And it's Tempest. It's Grayson Tempest. Number 19 is going to have enough on the jet sweep for a Golden Hurricane first down.
They got Tempest in motion, forced Temple's defense to try to follow him, and he just outran everybody. He was too quick for it and picked up that first down.
So now under the 5-minute mark in the third quarter. Clock is ticking. This Temple defense has been out here a lot already in this first half. This Temple defense maybe getting a little tired, and now it's a new set of downs for Tulsa. Francis is going to keep. Francis is going to look. He's going to avoid pressure. He's going to lunge forward for a 2-yard gain. That's actually great work right there by Kirk Francis.
Obviously, like for a guy that doesn't like to run the football that much, he has a lot of presence when he's in the pocket. I mean, he wasn't even touched.
He evaded about three guys.
He had 3 guys coming right at him. Not a single one even got a finger on him. He looks really comfortable in the pocket. He's hard to get to. I mean, he's having a really good half so far.
Kirk Francis, the Tulsa, Oklahoma native, going to his home city school. Hands it off to Anthony Watkins on the 2nd and 8. Anthony Watkins is going to make it a 3rd and 4. And excuse me, the first carry of the day was for Lloyd Avant, number 25. Got out there for his first carry, replacing Anthony Watkins on that down. And Lloyd Avant, number 25, is going to stay out there for the 3rd and 4. The freshman from Humble, Texas. 3rd and 4. Tulsa. Hand off to Avant. Avant's going to be stopped short. Stop short. It's going to be 4th down.
This
And
is
now the
4-down
Tulsa
territory.
offense has a decision to make.
Yeah, I think this is definitely 4-down territory for Tulsa. You finally got some momentum. You're only down 10. Oh, you could kick the field goal, though, and go down by 7, which is what I think they're going to do.
So after a Lloyd Avant carry, 5'10", 196-pound freshman runs it for 2 yards, moves it forward just a little bit. Ball on the 27-yard line. This is going to be a 46-yard field goal for Seth Morgan. Snap. Kick is up, and it is good. Seth Morgan makes it a 1-score football game. 17-10 now after the Seth Morgan 46-yard field goal is up and good. 2:40 remaining in this 3rd quarter, and we will be right back on WHIP Radio. Back from the break as Tulsa knocks in the 46-yard field goal from kicker Seth Morgan, making it a 1-touchdown game. 17-10, Temple stays on top. But Zach, we mentioned things are getting a little shaky now.
Yep, a lot of nervous energy, and that's a really good stop there by Tulsa on the return.
Therese Worthy bringing it out of the end zone, and he is going to have Temple start at their own 18-yard line. Also, some updates on Temple's roster for injuries. Of course, before the game, we knew no Cam Stewart. And also Reese Clark, Tyree Washington, and E.J. Wilson all out. And now updated, who we saw start the game, Dante Wright, is now apparently in street clothes, and he will be out for the rest of the game. And no Dante Wright, a huge hit for the Temple offense. Temple starting from their own 18. Evan Simon's going to keep it. He's going to take a big hit. Evan Simon's going to get knocked up there. Not what you want to see for Temple's quarterback.
Evan Simon's a really tough guy. I mean, he took that hit straight on, 1v1, lowered his shoulder.
Nothing.
Yeah, got up like he didn't feel anything.
Dane Hodge laying the boom. The junior from Rock Island, Illinois, delivering a heavy hit on Evan Simon. And now we are approaching the 2-minute in the third quarter. 17-10. Temple offense looking for something. Pitch out to Terez Worthy. And looks like he broke loose from the original tackle, but he still is only able to gain a yard. And now things are looking really dicey now, Zach.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be stopped. He looked like he might have lost some yards, but then was able to break free and gain 1. He did. He stayed up. That was a really nice move. But, I mean, Temple completely you got to be able to work the middle of the field. I think you got to let these passes fly. Let Evan Simon stay in the pocket, which starts with the protection up front. Got to protect him so he can have time in the pocket. Maybe find Landon Morris, John Adams, maybe even somebody.
3 receivers out to the near side, 1 out to the far side. That's Zay Baines. Holloway caught, and that's going to be a Temple first down.
That's
it's
exactly what you need.
Huge gain for the first down for Temple's offense. They needed to stay on the field. That was a very well executed third down play.
That was perfect right
Great
there.
catch.
Yeah, that was a great catch.
Hand off to Antoine Littleton. Might be his first carry of the day.
Yeah, we haven't heard his name much at all.
Could be wrong, but Antoine Littleton nonetheless has not been out there very much. First carry of the day for Antoine Littleton. It's been mostly Terez Worthy and Joquez Smith. Time ticking as we hit the 30-second mark in the third quarter. Evan Simon passes up. Oh, and it looked like he was about to get picked off. Number 21 on the Tulsa defense was approaching. Potentially could have been terrible news. Zach Marcelli.
Yeah, Evan Simon really lucky right there. Just Tulsa able to get a hand up on their defensive line, and that could have been possibly a pick 6.
Yeah, to play like that in their own territory against Coastal Carolina.
Yes.
A batted ball at the line of scrimmage got returned for a pick 6. That was almost deja vu. 3rd and 6, Simon's got to get rid of it. John Adams, who we've been talking about all day, he fumbles it. It's on the ground. Ashton Allen picks it up. Ashton Allen's going the other way, and he gets tackled inside the 15-yard line. And excuse me, it was Xavier Irvin. We're going to see if John Adams was actually down. But John Adams, after his catch for the first down, fumbles the ball. They might have to review this. Ooh, his elbow might have been down.
He was down.
Xavier Irvin, number 86, who we have not seen much of prior to this game, scooped the fumble. But Zach and I just saw the replay, and it seemed like before the fumble, John Adams' elbow, it seemed like his elbow hit the turf.
It looked like at first maybe he fumbled it before he touched the ground, but no, he was definitely down. And even though he was down, you got to give credit to Irvin for having the
heads up
to have the wherewithal to see that John Adams lost it, picked it up, and just take off. You got to play till the whistle. You don't hear that whistle, and you take off, and that's exactly what Xavier Irvin was able to do.
The previous play is under further review.
That would have been one. If this does stand, which I don't think it will, that'll be one of the crazier plays I've seen in some time.
If it does stand, this could be the break that Temple needs.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That would definitely be lucky.
We only got one look at the replay, by the way, folks. So we don't have for certain a great look on if his elbow touched the ground. It seemed like it did.
It definitely was a catch.
Oh, it was a first down.
It was definitely a catch.
It was without a doubt a first down. But also, if the ball was loose on the way down, it could already be a fumble, and then his elbow touching doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait and see. And I mean, by the way this game has gone, the reviews have taken a while. So
and this is a major call here.
Major.
If it stands or if it's confirmed, Temple's going to have the ball pretty much, about like the 25 yard line. If not, they're going to be backed up all the way back to midfield.
It's a 40-yard difference.
Yeah, like this could very well determine the game here.
It's a first down regardless,
Yes.
but if it's a first down where Adams went down, it's around the 45.
Yep.
And if it's a first down where Xavier Irvin was, it's around the 15. So it's around a 40-yard difference.
I think the one good thing for Temple is that it was initially ruled a fumble and then that big game by Irvin, where maybe if there's not enough evidence to overturn it, they can't overturn it, which means it'll stay with the original call. It bodes well for Temple that the original call was fumble and then recovered by Xavier Irvin. Because if it was flip side and John Adams was ruled down, they wouldn't even be at the review right now because it wouldn't matter because they would just say that it was down, play dead.
The original call on the field always has the kind of the stronger likelihood of
He was down.
Was down. And it's right at the 45, like we talked about.
That would have been incredible.
I doubt they show another replay, but
no. See, and typically they won't show it on the screen if they think it's negative for the home team. So the fact that they weren't showing it made it seem like they thought John Adams was down, but yeah, they're at the 44 right now. So still really good field position where it's 1st and 10. You're working it a little bit. You got to be able to find a way here.
Hey, we were talking about John Adams.
Yeah, we said we want to see John Adams get more involved.
Making a play. He did. Time is ticking, and it looks like that's going to bring us. Oh, they snapped it, but before the end of the third quarter. Run to Therese Worthy. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. So Temple, fortunate for this drive to still be going. 2nd and 7 when we come back for the start of the fourth quarter. Temple still on top, 17-10. from the wild play where John Adams fumbled, but he was ruled down. And then the next play, Therese Worthy carries it for 3 yards. So for the start of the fourth quarter, now they're putting 1st and 10 up. And now the referees are going to have a conversation.
I think they just ruled that Temple didn't get the snap off before the clock expired in the third. But
well, that was weird because Evan Simon, I saw he was looking up at the clock.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to let the clock run out. And then they ended up snapping the football. And it seems like you're right, Zach, that they did not get the snap off. So wasted energy for Therese Worthy. And his first down carry for 3 yards does not matter. And to start off this fourth quarter, for the final 15 minutes, or so we think, Therese Worthy gets a piece of the ball, and he gets drilled after a 2-yard gain.
He thought he found a hole there, but was immediately stopped. Brought down pretty hard, but it was able to still pick up one.
Tulsa's been hitting hard
Really
in the
hard,
second
yeah.
half.
I mean, we've seen Evan Simon take a couple hard hits. Therese Worthy right there took a hard hit. Just playing really physical on both sides.
So now this leaves Temple with a 2nd and 9 on their own 45, up 17-10 with 14:20 to go left in this ball game. Temple's offense slowed down completely in the second half. Simon's going to keep. He has a man. It's Landon Morris once again. Have a day, Landon Morris. Pass complete to Landon Morris. And that's going to be a gain for about 15, 20 yards and going to move to the 37-yard line of Tulsa.
And still working that middle of the field, Simon is. Landon Morris kind of being his go-to today.
And they are going to go quickly. Simon's going to keep it himself, and he's going to get a yard on the first down carry, making it 2nd and 9 at the 13:30 mark. Ball on the 37. Temple's offense moving quick. 3 receivers on the far side, 1 on the near side. Some pre-snap movement. Therese Worthy out in the flat. Therese Worthy trudging forward, breaks a tackle. It was Dane Hodge who delivered the big blow on Evan Simon, tried to take down Worthy, but he couldn't do so. And now you're seeing why Therese Worthy is out there so much.
Yeah, I mean, Worthy, he wasn't able to avoid the tackle, but was able to just fight through it. It looked like he was wrapped up, but used his strength.
Looking. A lot of contact. Crowd wants a flag, but they won't get one.
Yeah, I think especially considering what happened for Temple on defense with all those pass interference calls and the holding. Temple looking for that was a really nice throw. Temple was looking for the flag, but look at this throw here on the screen.
Ooh, it's got to be caught.
That was right in his hands.
That has to be caught.
Perfect throw by Evan Simon.
Intended for Taylor Jr. Score remains 17-10, 13 minutes left. Simon backing up, pressure once again, and he's just got to get rid of it. A lot of contact. You see Xavier Irvin, number 86, bumped into either a linebacker or somebody in the secondary. Now somebody's down on the Tulsa defense, holding his left leg, it seems like. And they're going to take a look at him as there's 13:06 left. Zach, you don't need a touchdown desperately right here, but you definitely want to get 3.
Yeah, you definitely want to make this a 2-possession game. You put 3 on the board, you're up by 10. It forces Tulsa to have to score twice to take the lead. In a perfect world, you get the ball right. You get the ball right into the end zone here, go up 24-10. But at an absolute minimum, you want 3 points. You can't march down the field on this long drive and come away with nothing. 2nd and 9 here. Well, no, it's 3rd and 10 here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta, and you don't need the first down, but you want to get to at least try to make it like 4th and 3. Then you have a decision to make. Do you go for it, or do you kick it and go up by 10? You have a very reliable kicker in Maddox Trujillo, but I don't know. This is where you can't let the game slip away. You have had a really tough second half. No points yet for Temple in this second half. The defense has given up 10. I mean, you put points on the board here, it forces Tulsa to kind of get into panic mode. to where they're being really defensive and they're trying to get back into it.
See Maddox Trulio warming up on the far sideline where Temple is. Defender for Tulsa getting walked off the field. And like you mentioned, Zach, no points so far in this second half. I think Temple was fortunate to score a few times, finding guys that usually don't score. Obviously, Terez Worthy, first running back score of the season. And then Peter Clark as well. But I'm really starting to see, like, no Dante Wright really hurts this offense.
When Dante Wright
he's
is
the guy
down
that gets
the field,
open all the time.
Yeah, he may be a situation where, like, you don't realize how good you have it with him until he's not out there.
Yeah.
You don't realize what you're missing until he's not out there. And Dante Wright was kind of like the security blanket for Evan Simon, where after the loss against Army, Evan Simon was asked to describe his relationship with Dante Wright because those two have really built a really nice connection this season. Evan Simon was like, look, Dante Wright is one of the best, if not the best overall teammate I've ever had in my entire career in college. So when he's not out there, it really hurts. And to see him in street clothes is very hard to see. Hopefully he's back next week for the Owls, but, I mean, Dante Wright's a guy where when Evan Simon's in trouble, he dumps it off to him. He can float those passes in where we just saw a perfect pass dropped at the sideline there. That's a ball that Dante Wright catches. So missing a major weapon, by far the best receiver on this team. And you're seeing how hard it is to play when he's not out there.
Yep, and you're seeing a scenario where definitely got to make it a two-score game here.
Have to.
As we are 30 seconds away from coming back from the break, the fans kicking extra points, and the fans went 2 for 3 on the extra points. Usually don't see any of that.
I actually got the chance to kick a field goal 2 years ago against
Didn't your
Cincinnati.
shoe come off?
Yeah, my shoe flew right off. It did. I was wearing like slippers. It was freezing cold against Cincinnati. Remember that night game?
Yeah.
Freezing cold. I was wearing slippers. I kicked it. The slipper went further than the ball.
Maybe you can get one more shot.
Hopefully.
So now a crucial 3rd and long. 3rd and 10, 13:06 left on the clock. 2 receivers on each side. Antoine Littleton in the game. Landon Morris in motion. Temple up a touchdown. Simon looking, pressure, and he just has to get rid of it. Pressure all over Evan Simon. Had about 4 guys surrounding him. No one open. And now Maddox, there's a flag on the play. So could be roughing the passer.
This would be major for Temple if so.
The offense seems to be staying out on the field. Evan Simon's talking to his coaches. We're going to wait to hear what the flag is from the ref right now. Replaying 3rd down, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Temple, you'll definitely take that.
Yeah.
You won one more shot at it. Got really lucky there. Got bailed out by the holding call.
So holding on Tulsa and then intentional grounding on Evan Simon. His first true mistake of the day. He's done a great job at getting rid of it and avoiding bad plays.
He's faced so much pressure today. He's faced right at him, and he's either thrown out of bounds or threw it close enough to a receiver to where he doesn't get that penalty, but first mistake of the day.
Ashton Allen on the near side. Holloway in motion. Landon Morris and Antonio Jones on the far side. Antoine Littleton in the backfield. Simon looking. Has to flee to the left side. Looks deep. And it is almost caught. Landon Morris almost made the grab of the year. But it was knocked away by number 6, Malachi Jones. The strong free safety for Tulsa. Evan Simon gave him a chance, and he had it in his hands, Landon Morris.
I mean, Simon, he threw that crossbody running to his left.
All the money.
That was a really good throw considering the position he was in.
So it's going to bring up 4th down, and here's a 41-yard field goal from the left hash. Maddox Trulio to give Temple a 2-score lead, and it is up and good. Maddox Trulio converts. The big man on campus nowadays The kicker, Maddox Trulio, gives the Owls a 10-point lead. And that leaves the score 20-10 with 12:50 to go in the fourth quarter. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. Back from the Maddox Trulio 41-yard field goal. Up and good, giving Temple a crucial 2-score lead. The sun starting to set. You can see the overcast here at Lincoln Financial Field. And now Maddox Trulio boots it away. See if Tulsa returns this one. They will not. Calling fair catch is Grayson Tempest. And now you talk about a drive, Zach, where the Temple defense has to come up big.
Yeah, I mean, Temple's offense, they would have loved to score a touchdown there, but they did their job. They made it a 2-score game, got points on the board. Now a 10-point lead. You got to be able to build off that if you're Temple's defense. Go back to what you were doing in that first half where you shut Tulsa out. I mean, you were playing hard, you were playing aggressive. They couldn't run the ball anywhere. They couldn't even throw it anywhere. I believe they had less than 100 total yards of offense in the first half. If you're Temple's defense, you got to find a way to get back to that.
12:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Temple has a 10-point lead. Tulsa starting off at their own 25. Pass complete to Camden Benjamin. Connection between Kirk Francis and Camden Benjamin, the leading receiver, who honestly, Temple, they've held him in check so far today.
They have. We really haven't heard his name until the third quarter.
Yep.
Where he really started to get into it. I mean, if you're Temple's defense, I mean, a 9-yard completion right off the bat is not what you want to start with. But like we said, Camden Benjamin is their guy, and they're going to go to him as much as they can.
Time ticking in this fourth quarter, so of course Tulsa's going to try and score quickly here. Very apparent on that first down pass. Anthony Watkins up the middle, and he gets tumbled. Gets his body flipped, but it's going to be enough to move the chains all the way out to the 42-yard line, just 2 plays in. And they already move it 17 yards up the field.
That was a major hit by Temple, but Tulsa moving quick. I mean, they're doing exactly what they want to do. The clock is still running, obviously, but 17 plays real quick. I mean, 17 yards real quick.
11:40 to go. Kirk Francis looking for Camden Benjamin, and he drops it. Oh, he had a man. Oh, excuse me, it wasn't Camden Benjamin. Number 12. Number 12, Corey Smith.
And Temple really caught a break there. That would have been...
No, that was right on his hands.
I mean, that probably would have been a first down. I think it would have been, yeah. And Temple catching a break. Sometimes it's just what you need, but you can't let... this is back-to-back plays where a receiver was wide open.
Corey Smith, the freshman from Indiana, unable to haul that one in. Kirk Francis has a man wide open and another drop. Anthony Watkins felt the presence of Elijah Darraville waiting for him.
I think that's a situation where you kind of hear the footsteps.
You see on the replay,
the replay,
Anthony Watkins most definitely heard Darraville just a few yards in front of him, and he wasn't able to keep his hands on the football.
He knew he was going to get hit hard, and I think he braced a little bit too early, and because of him bracing for contact, he wasn't able to bring in the pass.
3rd and long. Dwan Black gets to Kirk Francis, and Dwan Black finally making his presence felt. He was there early in that first quarter, and we haven't heard his name since. And Dwan Black
came right from the blind side. Francis didn't even see him.
Coming from the blind side.
He did. He hit him. They might look at this to see if I thought maybe they look at it to see if it's a fumble, but looked like maybe Francis was coming forward with his hand. The ball went out of bounds anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But DeJuan Black, love seeing him doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's a really good player. And like we said, it starts with getting pressure on the quarterback. They did it a lot in the first half. Kirk Francis under pressure there.
Punt is up and away. It's number 89.
Perfect punt.
Stewart back there, and it was just an awkward punt that you couldn't really get under. You don't want to risk anything there.
Temple's going to be backed up to about the 4 or 5 yard line.
And now a major stop for that Temple defense, but yeah, like you just said, now they're backed up, and then this is where the running game really comes into play. You got to be able to run the ball in these situations.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you do run the ball, you got to take care of it. The last thing you want is to fumble the football when you're that far back, and now they either scoop and score, or even if they don't score, they just scoop it. Now that's an easy, pretty much touchdown there. They'd be within 5 to 10 yards of the end zone. I remember Temple in the first half on the other side of the field was backed up, and they have found a way to work out of it. Whatever they did there, they got to be able to replicate that. But again, I'm sure Tulsa remembers that drive in the back of their head, and they're trying to make some adjustments as well. But Temple has been in this position before in this game, and they found a way to have some success. So, got to carry on to that.
And this is where you have to execute. You have a 10-point lead with 11 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. You're at home. You cannot lose this game.
You can't get complacent. Doesn't matter if you're up 5, 10, or 40. You got to play like it's a tie game. You got to play like you're losing with 2 minutes left at all times, especially in a season where you've been struggling. You have 1 win. You want to pick up this win, especially in conference. You want to get a conference win in the season. Homecoming game in front of your own crowd. You can't get complacent, like I said. Got to keep your foot on the gas and keep going at Tulsa. You got to at least get points on the board here. Make it 23-10, but maybe sustain a long drive. You can have like a nice little 7 or 8 minute drive. Tulsa gets the ball back with about 3 or 4 minutes left to go. Not able to do much. I think that would be a win for Temple.
I think this just comes down to Temple. They got to want this for themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Temple's got to want this win for themselves.
You can't come into the game with the motto Temple tough and not show it. You got to show it at all times, no matter the score.
So a huge possession as we are 40 seconds away from this drive starting. Temple's going to be at their own 4-yard line. And this is the point of the game where whoever's trailing, Tulsa is going to look at the clock every moment of this game. And both teams have all 3 timeouts, Zach. So you're definitely going to have to wonder when Tulsa is going to start to use these timeouts depending on time and score.
Yeah, I think the approach to this final 11 minutes and 13 seconds will be total opposites. Temple wants the clock to keep running. Tulsa wants the clock to stop every single play.
Yep. The way to keep the clock running is running the football.
Run the football,
and moving
exactly.
those chains.
But you got to get yards, but you can't just run the football and get the ball right back. You got to pick up first downs. If you're going to throw the football, you got to make sure that it's complete. And that starts with little dump-off passes. Maybe get Antonio Jones involved again. Ashton Allen, we haven't heard his name in a while. Those fast guys that are really good in the open field can make some players miss.
It's going to be Antoine Littleton and Evan Simon starting in his own end zone. Littleton dancing a little bit, and he will get 4 yards on the first down carry.
You will absolutely take that. First play, 4-yard gain. Now 2nd and 6. That's exactly what you need. You got to go back to Littleton, I would think, and he's staying on the field. And you talked about it before. I know Stan Drayton said it a lot, and you mentioned it. Playing a complete 4 quarters of football, they certainly haven't done it. Their third and fourth quarters, fourth quarter was a little bit better. Third quarter was not great on both sides of the ball, but you can rectify it all here.
2nd and 6 on the 8-yard line. Simon finding Littleton. There's a flag on the play from the referee in the middle of the field. Looks like he saw something. We're going to wait and see what it is. 10:36 remains in the fourth. Holding on the offense, and that's a very bad penalty for the Temple O. That's going to back him up halfway distance to the goal.
There's been a lot of holding today on both offense and defense for Temple, and it comes at really, really costly times as well.
So now you're basically going to have to scratch that first down run by Littleton. That holding call is going to make it a 2nd and 10 from the 4-yard line, and barely any time off the clock.
Yep, brutal. The clock, 10 minutes and 15 seconds to go, but now Evan Simon's got to set up in the end zone.
Simon and Littleton in their own end zone. Simon's going to find John Adams. John Adams tries to make a move, and that's a phenomenal tackle out wide by the corner, number 13, Nunu Campbell from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Of course, another guy from Tulsa.
Yep.
Staying home, but that was a really nice tackle. I mean, if John Adams made him miss, there were some other Golden Hurricane players coming, about 3 or 4 coming over to make that tackle, but John Adams could have definitely picked up 2 more yards and got that first down if he wasn't brought down there.
John Adams with his 4th catch of the day, 38 yards. A crucial 3rd and 2 from Temple's own 12-yard line. Littleton stays out there. Simon's going to pass, and it's caught by Taylor Jr.
A very risky pass.
And it's going to be short. It's going to be short of the marker to gain. And so Tulsa not using any timeouts. And the clock is going to continue to tick. And we have now approached the 9-minute mark of this 4th quarter. And Dante Atten, the punter from Australia, is now backed up in his own end zone, about halfway through his own end zone. And he's going to have to punt it away where Camden Benjamin awaits at the 50-yard line. Dante Atten, higher punt than normal. Camden Benjamin's going to flag it down, and Tulsa is going to start at the 45-yard line of Temple.
I mean, look, he basically punted that ball 45 yards in the air. I mean, he was backed up all the way in his own end zone, but, I mean, this is like, you couldn't, if you're Tulsa, this is exactly what you wanted. 8:35, perfect field position, 45 yards out.
All 3 timeouts.
All 3 timeouts, so you can have really good clock management. I mean, you're putting some pressure on Temple here, especially, and you have enough time to where you could settle for the field goal and then bring your defense back out and hope they get a stop on Temple. You don't need a touchdown here. You're down by 10. You just need 10 points. It can either be a touchdown and a field goal or a field goal and a touchdown. Doesn't matter the order.
Major stop there by the Tulsa defense, and now it awards them field position at Temple's 45, and now here's a trick play. Camden Benjamin's going to run with it. And after all that, he's going to get a gain of 3 yards, making it a 2nd and 7.
It looked like they were trying to do the trick play to get Benjamin
somebody open.
Yeah, get Benjamin to throw that deep ball, but just didn't have the look. But he still picked up 4 yards.
Yeah, the tackle was made by number 10, Tyquan King, who's had a solid day so far.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's 2nd and 6 from the 41-yard line. We have reached the 8-minute mark in the 4th quarter. Kirk Francis is looking, has a man, and he will be sacked. And the ball's out. It was Dewan Black. Dewan Black pops the ball out, and Andres Keaton recovers it. And now that puts Temple very well in the driver's seat.
Dewan Black, we just said that he's had a great last 2 games. Heard his name on the previous drive, getting pressure on Francis. Got pressure on him again, forced the fumble, and Andres Keaton recovered. And now, like you said, Temple in the driver's seat. Pretty much able to control this game now. I mean, this is perfect. A perfect situation for the Owls.
You see on the replay, Dewan Black once again got behind Kirk Francis where he couldn't see him. On the replay, it shows he pops the ball out, and Keaton, the safety, there at the right time.
Coming from the blind side, like you said, Francis had no clue that it was even coming. Dewan Black, you cannot contain him 1v1 at all.
Dewan Black continuing to wreak havoc one game to the other. And Andreas Keaton, the guy, one of the leaders on this defense, single digits, saying the turnovers were coming. And they certainly were after a run by Therese Worthy. Should be coming back after a holding call. But Andres Keaton, the transfer who's at Western Carolina for 3 years, his first year at Temple from Powder Springs, Georgia.
He said the takeaways were coming, and he got one himself right there.
And he got one himself. Keaton on the recovery Fumble forced by none other than Dwan Black, who has been a monster today. Dwan Black, the transfer from the Florida Gators, has had a great game and a great season when healthy.
Yeah, he missed the first couple games of this season. Finally got back in there, and hearing his name called a lot.
Evan Simon is going to drop back. Dump it down to Terez Worthy. He's got some room. Terez Worthy hurdles a man. Terez Worthy jumps over a guy. Oh, my goodness. Terez Worthy absolutely clears one of the corners, Jalen Kennedy, on the Tulsa defense. But now, even after all that, the holding penalty knocked him back a little bit. Now it's 2nd and 13 with 6:53 to go. Terez Worthy has the ball once again.
They're not making much use out of that turnover.
And now it's seeming like Tulsa's just going to get the ball back pretty soon.
Yep.
And now here comes the timeout usage. And the first one by Tulsa will be burned with 6:45 to go in this fourth quarter. 3rd and 11. Ball on the 43. So, Zach, here's the situation where you have to decide as an offense. Mm-hmm. Are you going to throw the ball to try and get the first down, potentially stopping the clock, or do you play it safe and run the ball and make either the clock keep running or Tulsa to burn another timeout?
I think if I'm Temple, I'm going to run the ball here. I'm going to give it to Terez Worthy. Hope that he picks up 4 or 5 yards or so. I mean, if you can get to if you get to a spot where Dante Atten can really, really drill a punt and back Tulsa up, then I think that would be really good. I mean, obviously, not what you want to do after forcing a turnover. I mean, 3rd and 11 now, you want to play a lot better after forcing that turnover, but if you can at least push Tulsa back, that could at least be a minor win.
Temple up 2 scores, 20-10, 3rd and 11. There's another flag on the field. Antoine Littleton making the most of his yards after catch. Gonna wait to hear what the flag is. But as of right now, it stands as a 4th and 5 with 6:41 to go in the fourth quarter. And the ball will be going back to Tulsa. Illegal motion. Penalty declined, and Tulsa will be getting the ball back.
A very sloppy game for Temple
as
in the
it is
second half.
Just a sloppy second half.
Yeah, really bad second half.
And if they do end up winning this game, so you feel good, oh, you won.
Yeah.
The second half was ugly. We're going to wait and see what happens in these final 6 minutes and 41 seconds. But do you like this position now? Dante Atten, he has some room for the punt.
I mean, previous punt, he was all the way in the end zone. Now he's at the 35. Should be able to get something going here. And
Dante Atten puts it away from Camden Benjamin. That's what you want to do. And a decent punt by Atten. So Tulsa's offense is going to start at the 17-yard line, and we will take a quick break on WHIP Radio. When we come back, Tulsa tries to make this a game. Back for a crucial drive for this Tulsa offense. Down 2 scores with 6:28 to go in the fourth. Desperately needing points. More likely a touchdown than anything else. And the drive starts off with a dump down to number 23, Anthony Watkins. That's going to be a gain of 7 yards.
And it keeps the clock rolling as well. Tulsa not using their timeout. A little too early for that. Probably wanted, I would assume they want some points on the board first before they use the timeouts.
Dump down once again, Anthony Watkins. He's going to cut up the field, and that should be enough. Right at the marker to gain. We're going to decide. And that's going to be enough for a Tulsa first down. So the scenario is 10-20 in favor of Temple. Under 6 minutes remain. Dwan Black once again wreaking havoc, and there's going to be a penalty. Looks like it's something of a chop block. It was an ugly play by the offensive line.
Yeah, I think Dwan Black forced that penalty.
Yeah, it was Dwan Black.
Yeah.
Called it.
There you go. Dwan Black, dude, he's doing more than he's doing everything.
So, illegal block below the knees. You'll see on the replay here on the Jumbotron.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot do that. Cannot chop at the knees when you are blocking. And that was going to be another Dwan Black sack right there.
Yep.
So this guy is all over the place. And that's going to back them up 15 yards, making it a 1st and 25 with 5:41 to go. Tulsa needs something, and they need it quickly. Pressure once again, and that's going to be another holding. On the pressure, Latrell Jean, who went down earlier in the first half, back out there, clearly doing all right as he forces the holding call.
Yeah, he's doing perfectly fine. Got through the Tulsa offensive line with no trouble and forced that penalty, which Tulsa now is starting to do what Temple was doing.
So now the penalty.
Half.
So now the penalty bug has transferred on over from Temple to Tulsa.
Because we talked about it during our break. Temple has 8 penalties this game. Tulsa only had 2. Now Tulsa has 4. Penalty on back-to-back plays.
So now 2nd and 25. 2nd and forever. 2nd and a mile, whatever you want to call it, with 5:30 to go in the fourth quarter. Tulsa, 2 timeouts left. All the way on their own 10-yard line. Kirk Francis, pressure again. Dumps it off to Tempest. And Tempest has to go out of bounds, stopping the clock, which is a good thing for Tulsa, but not gaining many yards at all.
Yeah, and it started. Gene got the pressure on him again on Kirk Francis. But, yeah, Tulsa, if they're going to pass the ball, they want to work that sideline.
5 minutes remain in the fourth quarter. Going deep is Francis, and that's going to be a pass interference on number 24, Ben Oswecki. And he has been in the mix of the penalty bug so far in this game.
Yeah, he never turned his head to look for the football.
Got to do
on
that
pass. Yeah. He had his head. Yeah, look. He turned it early, but then had his hands all over him.
If you don't make an attempt to try to play the ball,
exactly, yeah,
you're more than likely going to be penalized.
Yeah.
And Ben Oswecki for sure was, and that's going to keep the Golden Hurricane drive alive. With 5:07 left in the fourth, Tulsa on their own 31, 2 timeouts left. On the far side, caught by receiver number 7, Zion Steptoe, sophomore from Little Elm, Texas. Under the 5-minute mark, 4:40 and counting. Francis moving quickly. Finds a man. Number 8, Joseph Williams, freshman, his first catch of the day. And that's going to be enough for a Tulsa first down.
It looked like there was a hold on Tulsa that the referees missed. It was either Black. I think it was Dwan Black that got spun around, and they didn't see it.
Now there's a man down on the Temple defense, and that's going to stop the clock at 4:25.
So Tulsa kind of catching a break here, getting a timeout without having to use a timeout. When they get to now get into their huddle, talk things over. Looks like it's a cramp over there for Temple, but, I mean, Tulsa catching a break there.
Been quite the unconventional second half here.
I mean, it's been a tale of two halves, completely different halves for both teams, really. And I mean, honestly, Tulsa, they're not having a good fourth quarter. They had a really good third quarter, but no points in the fourth quarter so far. So really just that one falter for Temple's defense in that third quarter. The Temple offense, though, I mean, went from great to poor in the first half and second half, respectively.
So Temple still on top, 2 scores, and now that 40-yard field goal by Maddox.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah, because if not, all Tulsa needs is a touchdown and the extra point to tie the game. Who knows? Maybe they go for 2 to try to take the lead and they get it, and now you're losing if you're Temple. But, again, I mean, how nice is it to have a guy where you just throw him out there and you're like, doesn't matter if it's 30. He did miss a chip shot 2 weeks ago.
There's a small percentage of college teams that have the luxury.
They don't, yeah. There's a small amount of NFL teams that have that luxury.
Kirk Francis going to the far side. And Joseph Williams dropped the ball at the end of the play, but I believe he made a football move. We're going to see on the replay on the Jumbotron. He catches it, turns upfield, makes a football move, and then loses it. So they're going to give Tulsa the first down. And the clock is stopped at 4:10. Tulsa moving quickly. Kirk Francis heading towards the end zone for Camden Benjamin. And there was a lot of contact there. You were maybe thinking a pass interference once again. The defender was Torrey Richardson.
I looked right at the referee thinking he was going to throw that flag.
There have been a lot of penalties in the secondary today on Temple. It could have gone either way, but nonetheless, no flag on Torrey Richardson on that play, which leaves it to 2nd and 10 with 4:03. Now these are big downs. You could potentially see Tulsa deciding to kick a field goal if they get close enough. Then something like an onside. Probably going to see something like that.
I think they're going to have to go onside, whether it's touchdown or field goal.
2nd and 10. Francis gets sacked. A big play, and who else but DeJuan Black?
DeJuan Black has his fingerprints all over this game. Just 2 sacks for the Owls this afternoon, both coming from DeJuan Black in this quarter. I mean, it's so nice to have him back. They were really missing him in the first couple games of the season, and now picking up like he never missed anything.
Moving quickly, the Tulsa offense. Kirk Francis, and that's going to be a pass interference.
Yeah.
And you know what? That was actually a smart play.
He saved the touchdown.
That was actually a smart play. Torrey Richardson got absolutely beat by Camden Benjamin, just grabbed the waist of Benjamin, letting up the pass interference, but actually saving a touchdown.
And it's even smarter because, like you said earlier, in college, it's not a spot foul.
It's 15 yards. Or is it 10 or 15? I think it's 15.
Yes, 15. And if that's a spot foul, then, yeah, it's huge. But you know you got beat, save a touchdown. Just grab them. You have to. Save that touchdown.
High IQ play by the 6th year, Torrey Richardson from Tomah, Texas. Previously played at UTEP. And now in his first season at Temple, making the smart play there, saving the touchdown. 1st and 10 with 3:30 to go in the 4th. Tulsa needing something. Kirk Francis is going to run with it, and he gets drilled. Kirk Francis drilled by DJ Woodbury, and now there's flags. There's going to be a whole lot of unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike conduct.
I think that Tulsa was upset with the hit. I thought maybe Tulsa was upset with the hit and kind of went at Temple after the play, but
it just looked bad.
There was nothing illegal from Temple. It looked like the hit was fine.
From our view, it was a hard hit, but we saw in the replay it wasn't an illegal hit.
No.
It was fine. And one of the linemen for the Golden Hurricane didn't appreciate it, and that's going to back up Tulsa 15 yards, and that really hurts them there.
That's huge. And again, if you're a coach, if you're the head coach for Tulsa right now, to have a penalty after the play because you can't keep your cool in a game this close, that's a killer.
And there's another sack, and that is Number 3, Trey Thomas, the redshirt junior from Glen Burnie, Maryland. In his 3rd season at Temple, making a big play. Now this clock is ticking, under 3 minutes remain. 3rd and 30. Kirk Francis going deep, has a man, and it is incomplete. On the coverage, Ben Oswecki. Pass intended for Zion Steptoe, and it hit him on the chest, it looked like, Zach.
The throw turned him around a little bit, but
it's got to be
he's got
caught.
to make that catch. That was like I said, turned him around a little bit, but hit him right in the chest. Got to come down with that. Ben Oswecki, though, celebrating after the play.
The sophomore, Zion Steptoe, will lose sleep over that one.
Yes, he was 4th and 29.
Hit him on the chest. Now here's the game for Tulsa. Kirk Francis is going to go down, and that one might just do it, folks. It looks like the Owls are in good position to take this one. At home, off the bye week. Back at Lincoln Financial Field. And the Owls are feeling good.
These last 2 drives, the pressure that Temple's defensive line was able to create was incredible. We didn't see it pretty much the entire first 3 quarters, and now in this 4th quarter, really took it up a notch, and that's what good teams do. You lock in when you have to.
The
you
defense.
Get the defense, you get the pressure you need when the game is on the line, and people were uncomfortable in this game. You could feel all of that nervous energy, but Kirk Francis was running for his life in this 4th quarter.
So the Tulsa offense leaves the field disappointed. And after maybe a chance to make this some sort of a game, the chances of Tulsa winning this one are not looking too hot. And now just a few first downs should do it for Temple, if they can do so.
Yeah, that's the last thing you need. He might have lost a yard there.
So there's, in college now, introduced for all the listeners this year, the 2-minute warning now is new in college.
Yeah, the 2-minute timeout.
The 2-minute timeout is new, just introduced into college this year.
So Tulsa essentially has 3 timeouts.
So Tulsa essentially has 3 timeouts, and it looks like they're going to burn one here at 2:09. So Tulsa's going to burn their 2nd timeout. At the 2:09 mark, there will be another stoppage of play at the 2-minute mark, and they have 1 remaining after the fact. So Temple's offense is going to discuss, and you gotta assume that the talk that they're having right now over on the far sideline on Temple's end is just play it safe, get out of here with a win, right, Zach?
I think you're probably not going to see them throw the ball too much unless it's little check down passes, which are pretty much guaranteed completions because they want the clock to run. Obviously, Tulsa will use their last timeout, and then in 12 seconds they'll have that automatic 2-minute timeout. But if you're Temple, you got to pick up the first down. That's number 1. This game's not over if you can't pick up the first down because then Tulsa gets that ball back. But maybe enough time to score and get the onside kick.
2nd and 10. 3 seconds added back on the clock. 2:12 to go in this final quarter. Simon is going to hand it off to Terez Worthy. Terez Worthy's going to bounce outside, and he has some room. Terez Worthy has enough for a first down, and that's a huge play for Temple. And that one might seal the deal, Zach.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed there from Terez Worthy. We called his name a lot. We said maybe he got that starting now today. Might see him have it next week as well. He's had a really, really solid game. And for a Temple team that has struggled to run the football all season, it's nice to have Terez Worthy in there. He only has 24 yards on the ground, but he's had very timely plays where you need a first down, he gets it. You need a touchdown, he gets it. Like we said earlier, the first rushing touchdown for a Temple running back this whole season, and we're in game number 7. So Terez Worthy, although you look at the box score and he's only got 24 yards on 10 carries, if you watch the whole game, you see just how important he was throughout the entire afternoon.
That's going to bring us to the 2-minute break here at Lincoln Financial Field. Temple coming up on their 2nd win of the season. We'll be right back on WHIP Radio. Temple coming up on their second win of the season. The tale of two halves, Zach. A great first half for Temple. A little bit of a slower second half, especially offensively, but now Temple, after that Therese Worthy first down carry, looking like they're in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not a clean game for all 4 quarters, but if you come away with the win here, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You want to win games. A conference win is huge also. You always want to get one of those. So although they didn't play great the entire game, they really tailed off in the second half. The Temple defense was very good throughout. The Temple offense, though, was not able to keep their foot on the gas, but a win's a win, and they'll take as many as they can get.
Assuming this will be a win, getting to the 1:30 mark of the fourth quarter, Temple still up 10 points. Temple will improve to 2-5 on the season, and Tulsa will fall to 2-5 on the season. 2nd and 9 with 1:15 to go in the fourth. Therese Worthy bouncing outside again. Therese Worthy has some room, and he will slide. A smart play by Therese Worthy. What a day for the kid. And that's another first down run.
A very smart play there. Like
Very
you said,
smart play.
Instead of running out of bounds, he slides so that the clock keeps on moving. I mean, like I said, he's had a great game.
That's just simple.
Timely.
It's just simple plays like that that instills trust in the coaching staff. That you slide in that moment, you keep the clock running. It shows you have the mental capabilities of being able to play football and still also knowing the situation.
And it also shows that you're not selfish either. He could have tried to take him on one-on-one, try to break the tackle, get in the end zone, and been thrown out of bounds. But he said, no, I'm a team player. I want to win this game. Clock's got to move. I'm going down.
And Temple, from this point on, with 30 seconds remaining, they will kneel it out. And I doubt that Tulsa uses that last time out. And that one's going to do it, folks. The final knee will do it for Temple. They will catch a win on homecoming. Temple will go to Eastern Carolina next Saturday, October 26th. Same start time, 2 p.m. And Tulsa will go back home to Tulsa, Oklahoma next Saturday to take on UTSA. But, Zach, a win is a win.
A win is a win. There haven't been many in these last 3 seasons, but it's always nice when you get them. Now, we have the band playing. The fans are happy. Like we said, it was not a pretty game. Really good game by the defense, not pretty by the offense for the entire game, but you take those wins. Stan Drayton's going to be happy. During his press conference, he's going to have a lot of nice things to say. I'm sure he's going to say he wants to look at the film, clean up some things, just like any coach would say. But everybody's going home happy. Homecoming day, you want to win the game, and Temple did their job today.
Evan Simon, 300 yards through the air, a passing touchdown. The first rushing touchdown by a running back this year for Temple. The defense playing well in that second half, making the plays that needed to be made. Juwan Black all over the place, and Temple is back in the winning column. Everybody, thank you for listening on WHIP Radio. This has been James Urban and Zach Silverstein. Everybody have a good evening.